Hello, everyone. What's going on? Back with another episode. I gotta figure out which. Nope. There we go. All right. I had to make sure that the microphone was not the mic. The camera was on me because usually I tend to forget like which camera is which, like which one's main one, main two, whatnot. But anyway, that's besides the point. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the South Florida Gamers Podcast. I am your host, the SilverbackSenpai, and joining me is my awesome co-host, Waluigi.
Good morning, guys. Great to see y'all again. Looking forward to episode 5, and good to have our guest again.
All right, and our guest is none other than Jakejames Lugo.
Yo, what is good? About time. It's about that time. You finally got me on the show. We're over here planning this out for weeks. I'm telling you, we had to sign out forms, we had to make releases, we had to sign NDAs. No, I'm just playing. We didn't need to do all that. He asked me to come on, and I was like, okay, yeah. But hey, what's going on, everybody in the chat? What's going on, everybody live? Or if you're watching this later, appreciate y'all. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, as always.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor, my dude.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty awesome.
Definitely. All right, so we're going to reflect back on last podcast, and I would say it went pretty good. We've had Pyro 31, shout out to Pyro as episode 4, as our guest for episode 4. Wow, I'm literally butchering.
It's too early.
It's
too early.
the morning time.
Nobody's had donuts, nothing.
I didn't have breakfast.
We're winging it.
Me too.
Yeah, let me just wake up and just go and just come here.
He's winging it. He's powering through.
Absolutely. But overall, it went pretty good. I mean, quality-wise, video-wise, audio-wise, really good.
Nice.
What's your thoughts, Waluigi?
Yeah, Pyro 2 was a lot of fun. We had a lot of good laughs. We brought back a lot of our personal opinions on the retro consoles or our favorite personal consoles. And I love how we all agreed on N64.
N64 is dope.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Very dope.
Yes, like, same thing with Media Nut. Like, N64 is like, we all agree, like, it was the
It
best
is top
one.
tier.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to break it up just because of, for the sake of breaking up. I'm a Sega kid. I'm a Genesis kid. So my first console was Sega Genesis. And funny enough, my first game was Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
Oh, wow.
That was my thing. That's me and the Genesis are literally have like fates intertwined like this because I was born that year that it came here to the United States. Because I think it came out the year prior in Japan as the Mega Drive, and then it came rebranded as the Genesis here in the United States. So that's me. So yeah, Sega, number 1.
Sega.
Oh, I'm in the commercial for the Sega Genesis Mini.
Wait, are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I'm on YouTube.
I need to look this
up
up.
on YouTube if you don't believe me. I'm actually the first person you see that says Sega on there, which is pretty crazy.
I'm looking this up later.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big Sega kid. I love Sega.
Yeah, man. Well, I had never owned a Sega Genesis. I remember playing at a friend's house.
That's what you did when you didn't have a console that you wanted.
Yep.
You go to your friend's place, and it's like, oh, you got all these games? Guess what? I'm staying over.
Yeah, literally.
That's how I got my Xbox One, actually.
That's how I played Super Nintendo games. That's how I played PlayStation games. My first time playing a PlayStation game or a PlayStation console was Crash Bandicoot 2, and it was because I went to a friend's house, and that's how I got introduced to 3D gaming. Besides N64, because that was also 3D gaming, but like it was like 97, I think, or 96. Whenever Crash 2 was already out, that's when I got to play that.
Judas, I was barely existing.
Back in the day, that was the real console wars. That was when people were getting smacked up in the streets for being SNES fans or Genesis fans.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I saw that go down. Now, honestly, this is a great exaggeration, chat. I'm not saying people actually got beat up and stuff. But the point was that was some real console war stuff.
Yes.
I want to see lightsaber duels about this.
This was the 90s. Like, remember, we had the prequels coming out. So when Darth Maul was wielding lightsabers, everybody was
That's true.
Like, it was crazy.
All right. Well, you guys can find this podcast available on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and Spotify. We're also, and of course, the video playback will be, available on YouTube if you're not watching it on YouTube. But anyway. With that being said, our guest, Jakejames Lugo.
Yo.
Like, I remember meeting him.
Gamer Comic Expo, I think we met, or before that. Because I saw you when I came to the Flynn's arcade opening when I covered it. But we didn't get a chance to talk because you were busy running around, like working and stuff. You were doing things.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me go say hi. But I was like, phew, he's gone. Like that. But yeah, we've seen each other a couple times.
Yeah, same here. And I remember seeing some of your videos and clips on Instagram, and of course, like, funny enough, you were also recommended on my YouTube suggestions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. At least YouTube is doing something with my videos. Finally. Thanks, YouTube. I'm just saying.
I'm like, because it was all centered around. I think it was either Otaku Fest or Anime IWI.
I did go and do that stuff. That's right.
And then I'm also looking at other videos of people who also went to the convention as well. And that's when I saw his. And I was like, oh, let me read this. And I'm like, wait, I remember seeing this guy walking around too.
I cover a lot of the conventions down here in South Florida in general, and even just Florida State, because I'm up north, like with Tampa and Orlando and stuff. So that's probably why it recommended me when you were looking up stuff like that. Because there's a lot of different events and cons that I've gone to that I've covered just for South Florida alone over the last good number of years. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how conventions, you just meet interesting people. And
That's true.
Here we are, and we're here together. Like, all three of us have met each other through conventions.
Small world.
Yeah. I did discover you from Super FanCon, actually.
From Super FanCon, that's right, because I hosted a panel there. That's right.
Yeah, I found your page. I'm like, wait, I've seen this guy. I didn't meet him.
Who the heck is that guy? What's he
Exactly.
doing?
I'm
Look at this
like,
loser
I'm like
over
Gamer
there.
of Games. I'm like, that sounds like super fit and super badass. I got to follow him.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And it's funny enough because when I first started the channel, like harping off that name, like I was originally just going to do mostly fitness with blending with gaming stuff. And people just didn't like the fitness stuff. So I was like, okay, let me just focus on gaming. Like,
Oh man, that does sound like fun.
I mean, it was cool because a lot at the time, there was a lot of fitness channels that were trying to implement gaming into like a cheesy way. It was very stereotypical. It was very like, very one note.
Like anime workouts.
Well, kind of like that, or it's just like trying to be like, hey guys, check me out. I'm playing Call of Duty, son. Like, let's do this and let's do a workout like this to get fit like these guys. I was like, come on now. Like, as a lifelong gamer, and I'm pretty sure you two could relate, I was like, come on now.
Yeah.
It's stupid, just stop. Like, it was silly.
Yeah. So, all right. We all, me and Waluigi, we asked this question to all of our guests. We want to know your origin story.
Oh man, so it's a crazy.
Like, the
crazy
level
thing.
1 of you to level now.
Well, like I said at the very start earlier before, I'm a Genesis kid. I'm a Sega kid growing up, literally. First game was Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega Genesis. That was literally my introduction to gaming, period. And then through the years, got to, again, see other consoles, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, N64, all those stuff, either through friends or by me getting them. Because my second console I owned was an N64. First games was Shadows of the Empire, Star Wars, and Tora Dinosaur Hunter. That was literally like hell of an introduction to that console, even though it wasn't Nintendo first party, but that came later through friends like playing Super Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing, the list
Ooh,
goes
those
on.
are the fun ones.
And then PlayStation 2 into gaming, like first game even on PlayStation 2 was Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of Cortex. That was just, again, as a Crash fan.
That's a
prior
good
to
one.
that, which was pretty dope. And then also the wrestling games. Remember, SmackDown, Just Bring It,
Yep.
Here Comes the Pain, Know Your Role, all those games that, because my family's a big wrestling family. We used to go, when I was living in New York before I came down here years ago, we used to go to the house shows at Madison Square Garden. So we were really big wrestling fans like that. We were big Undertaker fans specifically. So that was like our thing. But playing those games on that console introduced me to that world or that area of PlayStation. And where things really started to go uphill and crazy for me is because originally I went to school for game design, or at least wanted to design games, and I quickly found out that wasn't for me. Like, I'm not scientific in the way that I process stuff. I love the critique of games, and I love the discussion of games. So eventually, after that area of my life was done, I became more interested in getting into games media, or getting into when YouTube started to become a thing when I was already down here in Florida. And I got introduced to YouTube through some random content creators and stuff. A lot of content creators that people don't like now. Like, probably my biggest one of my influences was DSP. It was Dark Side Phil, because he used to do a lot of the on-camera Let's Plays and stuff. And obviously that got phased out and stuff, but then I got introduced to other people like Angry Joe. Got introduced to, the Nostalgia Critic? Different people like that for various different things. He's more movies, but like, again, applying that to games, it's very interesting, and you could see a lot of parallels with that. So afterwards, after starting on YouTube and then getting introduced to games media, through like IGN and other websites and stuff, I ended up joining with my first website, which was when I was down here, was Real Taco Gamer. That was when, after doing a little bit of freelance beforehand, that's when I started to really get into reporting or writing about games, discussing games on a professional level, quote unquote.
Right.
And then from there, it just branched off. I joined other websites like Shifted to You, The Coalition, and everything else. Ended up freelancing for IGN, writing guides and doing video stuff. At some point up till now, which at this point I'm independent because I'm not with a website. I want to work for a larger website. That's a goal, not the end goal, but like something that I want to do. But more than anything, I want to become at least a credible force or a credible voice in gaming for the greater gaming community, which is encompassing everybody, not just the games media, not just the content creator side, not just specific areas or communities of games, just like as an overall like personality and an individual that like people could be like, okay, he knows something about games. When he speaks about games, he's talking from a place that's like people can listen and get something out of it. At least that's the end goal.
Right, and I also have to ask this one question. You're not bad at games because I have seen some gaming journalists.
I can definitely confirm I am not bad at games. If you didn't know, if you didn't realize it, I know it's a shock. You might want to sit down for this one, okay? I am not bad at games. You will not see me with Cuphead trying to get over the damn pillar like my man over there. Like my man's over there. He knows who he is, okay? You all know who I'm talking about, okay? I'm goofing on him, okay? I've met him once briefly, okay? I'm goofing on him, okay? The thing is like, you know, I know that's a stereotype amongst games media, and I think that gets perpetuated by a lot of content creators or people on YouTube specifically, where they say like, okay, they have this very antagonistic view of games media gaming journalists. That's a lot of the phrase and the terms thrown around a lot.
Right.
However, they're not seeing the full picture because you got people like me, you got a lot of other people that still work at places like IGN, Polygon, and Kotaku, Giant Bomb, and other places, Rock Paper Shotgun, that are not like the same way that people discuss those types of people. Like they're a lot of that comes from a lot of the bitter nature and the emotion from disagreeing about games. When
Right.
somebody writes a review and they have an opinion about a game, you disagree with it, and it's like, oh no, this whole outlet's full of caca. Like it's a pretty crazy bad thing.
Like a game review, like a game getting a perfect 10 out of 10 scoring. You're just like, wait, what? How did this game get a perfect
Not
score?
Yeah.
even that, sometimes even dumping on a game that people are very passionate about. Like I've even experienced that myself. We were talking earlier about it off camera about when I did the review for Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 for IGN. And people didn't like how I said it was a 5.5 out of 10, but I remember that I wrote the guide for that game. I played that game more than anybody else at that time. So I knew what I was talking about, but again, anime fans and other fans about certain games, they're passionate about that stuff. So when you feel like you say something different than how they feel, it's like they take it as like you're attacking the thing that they love. And that's not necessarily the case. At least that's not the way that people should look at it.
That's true.
That's facts, yeah. For real.
So with Naruto, you said Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Who's your main team?
My main team at the time was probably Naruto, probably, was it Rock Lee, and maybe Itachi, maybe Sasuke. I would sometimes go to Kakashi. And again, just mess around with it. I was never competitive in that game, but just like going with it just cause like that, because again, I wasn't really a huge fan of the way that game turned out, because I was a big Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm fan for a while. For like Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, I thought was awesome because of the single player content.
Right.
And some of the other ones as well, you know, things changed
Yeah.
for that series. And that game also specifically has changed with updates, patches throughout time. But nobody cares about that game now because there's like plenty of other games
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to deal with now. But you know, when that game first came out, that's at least what I was rolling with.
But as an anime fighter or brawler or however people want to call it, like, it's the best one because you look at a game like Jump Force and
Oh, that's not even a comparison. So, like,
Oh.
I reviewed Jump Force and I
Serious.
reviewed J-Stars Plus.
Oh, yeah,
Because I
J-Stars
did a
is
whole
another
bunch of
one.
stuff. Because I reviewed a lot of the anime-based games from like Bandai Namco, from Tecmo Koei, and other companies. And the one thing that they all have in common is that usually they're rushed out because they really put a lot of weight and emphasis on the brand name for people buying it. The
Right.
only one that hasn't really done that like that is Dragon Ball FighterZ, because I mean, you take the concept of like having like a game or a 2D fighter like Marvel versus Capcom, or at least
Yeah.
in that type of style, you apply it to something that's crazy as Dragon Ball Z, and it was just a match made in heaven. And you got Arc System Works, who
Yeah.
the guys
Yeah.
that did Guilty Gear and Blouse Blue. It's just a match
Yeah.
made in heaven like that.
yeah, definitely. And even though I've played Dragon Ball Fighter Z, like, I still love the game. I do. It's just
Same.
I'm basic at the game.
Yeah, me
like,
too. I'm gone. I want to say I'm total trash. Like, I'm
I
trash
haven't
at
played
love
it.
too.
I haven't played it yet, man.
You need to play it. Like, trust me, you probably have a lot of fun if you love that universe and you love that style of game. But like, there are people that are fantastic out there.
Like,
I've seen
just
gameplay.
Crazy ridiculous.
Gameplay
Like,
is terrifying.
they touch you once and then it's just
You ever
combo
see Sonic
after-
Fox play? Like
Yes.
Sonic Fox, like, again,
Yes.
he's good at like multiple
Yeah.
fighting games, but like you look at him play, it's like, okay, there's no way I'm even gonna like get remotely close to this. But it does look nice.
Yeah, definitely. It looks very entertaining. I mean, it's awesome to hear that you're very much deep into the gaming media, the gaming in the gaming scene and whatnot, and I'm impressed. Like, honestly, I am.
There's more.
Me
I'm
too.
telling you, there's a lot more that people just don't know, man.
That's what Billy Mays once
Yeah.
said.
Because usually, from my perspective, when I think of a gaming journalist or someone that writes for gaming media, I would think of them as, okay, maybe, all right, there are those that do play games, and of course there's going to be some that have certain biases for certain games where people are going to openly disagree with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, where I come in, I would say a little bit of a conflict with certain gaming journalists is how they they say that they've played this game, they're familiar with the series, and then when you question them about it, it's like, what? They don't have a clue what you're talking
Well,
about.
you know what it is, and I think it's more that it's not even just that. And it's not even that the majority of them are being disingenuous. I think that's what's usually assumed by
Yeah.
a lot of people for various reasons. Like I said, a lot of that gets perpetuated on places like YouTube by different content creators that people look up to as being authentic, real, or genuine and stuff.
Right.
And that's not necessarily true. Because there are plenty of games journalists or gaming media people that are part of that scene that might not be like, super popular as the ones you see always on the forefront.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
That are very passionate, very good at what they do, and very knowledgeable at what they do, whether it's retro or modern game stuff. One of the things that I always found that was a little bit more that kind of just adds to the problem, especially now within the last couple of years. Granted, a lot of big things that have happened in the news, a lot of crazy things that have happened within the scene and the greater gaming community, not just on YouTube, but everywhere, where they become more antagonistic towards the audience, and it's like a thing that they feed off of because of the reactions, because of the constant stream of traffic towards it for various different websites. A lot of people will point to places like Kotaku, like Polygon, Waypoint, and Rock Paper Shotgun, and a lot of other places you can name and stuff. I don't always think that's the case, but it's a little bit hard to argue when you see things like that. When it's like, oh, you're seeing articles that say gamers are dead, or you're seeing articles that are saying gamers are this, or gamers doing this thing. Look what happened with the Skyrim Grandma. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I heard
that,
about
that
it.
pissed me off because it's like,
I'm trying to remember that.
well, the short version of it is that Skyrim Grandma did a video about her taking a step back because of her health, and she didn't want to deal with some of the comments and stuff, which is a typical thing.
Yeah.
But a bunch of websites went with this narrative and wrote these articles saying like, oh, Skyrim Grandma is taking a step back because of trolls and crappy gamers and stuff. They were really insulting. And Skyrim Grandma came out and was like, hey, listen, this is not true. You guys need to check this and correct this or take this down. She did it specifically, I think it was to VG247. And then did
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw
And
that on Twitter.
the crazy part is after she said that, not one of them went and updated their articles. And I felt that was a problem. That right there is a thing for people to get upset about. And as someone that is part of the gaming media, or still looks as himself as part of the gaming media, that is disingenuous because you clearly didn't care about what was the actual story when the person you're writing about, the subject of your piece, is coming out and saying, hey, this is what it is. Not one person even really hit her up for comment, to even have her on a podcast to talk about it. Not one. And I feel that's where, okay, I could be with a lot of the opinions where people say stuff like that. But again, it's not all of them. It's really, you got to look and see which ones are the ones that are really genuine, which are the ones that are doing due diligence to stuff. Not always the one that are always pushing the forefront like that.
Yeah, because usually people would just blame the entire media company instead of
Paint a
the
broad
actual,
brush.
instead of the actual writer.
Yeah.
Blame this writer.
I've said that
not
for
the,
years. I've
not
said
the
it
entire
constantly,
company.
Constantly for years, I've told people, and I've said a lot of YouTubers and a lot of content creators that I've met with that have big audiences, and I'm like, listen, you can't paint a broad brush like that for a lot of these websites because there's multiple people that work at these places, and they can't always all get the responsibility of something bad happening for that website. Look what happened with Philip Mewson. I'm pretty sure you guys remember what happened with Philip Mewson. Quick reminder for anybody even that doesn't know about
Okay,
this.
thank
He
you.
was the one that was caught with plagiarism or plagiarizing multiple places at IGN. He got hired as the Nintendo editor for his videos on YouTube that were mostly Nintendo stuff. Come to find out, multiple times in multiple places, he plagiarized a lot of people's work, even people that were working at IGN.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a bad thing. He got fired, obviously, but it was a big thing in the news. What happened? Because of his stuff, everybody at IGN got painted for that, got ridiculed for that. Everybody, I mean literally everybody. And that's not fair because it's that dude's actions that did that stuff. You can even apply it, though, to the same thing when somebody has an opinion about a game. It's that person's opinion. It might be on the website, it might be on the outlet and stuff, but that doesn't mean that the same outlet has everybody there agreeing with the same opinion. I learned that the hard way, and I got a little bit humbled with it when Mitch Dyer was part of IGN, because I remember looking at some of his reviews, for Double Dragon Neon and a few other things. I'm like, oh, this guy's full of nonsense. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I can't believe IGN all feels like this. And it wasn't the case at all. And I had to take a step back and really evaluate my perspective on it. I was like, okay, things are a little bit much more nuanced and gray as opposed to just binary black and white like that with opinions and stances on outlets or just things in gaming in general. I think a lot of people don't take enough time to actually really do that, especially when they're out here making content about games, reviewing games and stuff. They don't take the moment to be like, okay, am I reaching out to my audience and actually really telling what it is and being fair more than anything else? I feel like people are just chasing a lot more of the attention rather than anything else.
Right. Yeah. That's where I currently stand with just gaming journalists, because you have these clickbait articles and you're reading them and you're just like, like why would?
Sometimes it comes off as wrong. Sometimes it comes off as disingenuous, and it comes off clearly where they're going after the hits. And they're going after the clicks.
And then when they do go after the hits, and let's just say someone is used to that, they'll be like, you know what, I'm just not gonna read nothing from them anymore. Even though they may have changed out the person, it's just with that brand, now nobody wants to go to the website or associate themselves with that brand because they're so used to a lot of clickbait articles, and it's like, well, it's.
And then all these other writers get overlooked and get completely just shafted on it. Like, again, you see that a lot with Kotaku. Like, I've been fortunate enough, or at least lucky enough, to meet multiple writers that have worked for Kotaku, like Jason Schreier, like Stephen Totillo, Nathan Meunier, or Nathan Grayson, I'm sorry. Like, it's different people, different Nathans. But, like, you know, not all of them all share the same views. Not all of them are the same type of perspective. So if you feel a certain way about one thing, I get it, you could feel that way, but then just don't, like, judge the entire outlet like that. It's not fair.
Agreed. I mean, based on what you're telling me, that gives me a much better perspective that you can't just blame them all.
I agree.
You should get multiple perspectives, multiple ideas from multiple places, and then make your own judgment after that. I feel like that's not talked about or not like put out there enough by everybody.
I also have another question. Should gaming journalists be content creators like what you're doing, where you do write and then, of course, you also do make videos and reviews? And you don't see that with a lot of gaming journalists because usually they're just, writing. And I understand that not everybody has the talent or the time to put into, creating content, making a video, making, create, some awesome edits and whatnot, and then uploading on YouTube because they're already busy handling other stuff. And I understand that when it comes to reviewing games, that it takes time.
Yeah. But here's the thing. They already technically are. And, it's a very, people just don't know what the criteria is for that specific thing because all games media people are technically content creators. Everybody that makes content on the internet is technically a content creator. It's a very broad thing. The problem is, there was okay, what is the criteria and what exactly are we talking about? Are you talking about content creator in the sense, are you a YouTuber, Twitch streamer, Mixer streamer,
and
all this
YouTuber.
podcaster, all this different stuff? I think that they already are in some cases because a lot of websites, and even now, it's just like the standard of the industry. You got to be everywhere. You got to be on YouTube. You got to be on Twitch. You got to be on Instagram. You got to be on Twitter. You got to be on multiple places to get your content out there in order to thrive or even just to survive and get by like that. I think that also when people say stuff like that, they're looking at a lot of the content creators that have not been part of larger websites, haven't gone to the IGN, haven't been part of the media in a traditional sense. The one thing that I find that is the best of both worlds is when you're part of both, or at least you have an understanding of both. Guys like Greg Miller are like that. Guys like Colin Moriarty are like that. Guys like Jeff Gertzman are like that. I would even argue technically Jason Schreier is the same thing, and a few others that have been in multiple places. Alana Pierce is another one. Andre Renee is another one because again, people care about multiple man, female, all this different stuff. That where they have an understanding of both worlds and they're able to make content that just speaks to people like that without being categorized as one thing or the other, even though people do it anyway. Do they need to be like that? No, you don't need to, but I think that if you really want to really thrive and put yourself out there, or at least contribute to the greater conversations about gaming, I think you should. I think everybody should in some way, which is what I do. Again, I've written for multiple websites over now. As of January, I passed my 10-year mark being part of the games industry, actually discussing
That's awesome,
and talking
dude.
about games. I've hit the dime mark, a decade of talking about games and stuff. I mean, that doesn't make me better or worse than anybody else out there, but at least it gives me, or at least gives off the impression I have an understanding about what gaming is, what the conversations are about gaming in multiple different avenues.
Well, it's good to know that we have someone local.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't know
This
about.
left me
I'm just
speechless.
saying.
This left me speechless. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, here's the thing, that I look at is because even with a lot of work, we were even talking before that I covered the Ultimate Gamer that was down here that people just don't know about, haven't looked because they haven't been told or they haven't had the chance to really hear about this stuff. That I've done a lot of work out there. Remember a couple of years ago, a lot of the big thing going on with gaming was talking about feminism, talking about a lot of these other topics that people cringe when they hear certain stuff like this. But when you get a different perspective, it kind of opens things up. I wrote a whole editorial, even as a guy, about feminism and why it's actually good in the games industry. And it's not what you're hearing about from places like, Feminist Frequency, from Anita Sarkeesian or all these other women and stuff.
I cringe when I hear it.
Well, that's my point, though. When you hear about it, when you actually do a little bit more research or get other perspectives, it starts to open you up a little bit like that. And I feel like, for me, I have the perspective, or at least I've done the work and I've put in the time to really put things out there like that, to cover things of that sort, whether it's controversial topics like that, whether it's the big releases, whether it's just even the fun topics, theorizing and all this other stuff that, again, some of you people out there should know about. I'm just saying, take a look, take a second look, or take a look. That's all I'm putting out there.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's definitely good to get that understanding, or at least develop a foundation of what you're about to talk about, what you're going to engage on, before you just jump to conclusions.
Or just some more content to enjoy too. Keep in
Amen
mind,
to
'cause I
that.
do a lot. Like I know I'm a little humble about it, but if I'm real talk, if I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit, I do a ridiculous amount. I do more than most of the average people, even the average content creator out there.
That's awesome.
Making videos every week, like highly edited videos, being part of the conversation on social media, writing. I think one of the big things for a lot of YouTubers and other people out there, learn how to write will help you be a better content creator, because you think differently when you learn how to write, when you translate it into video, the way that you talk, the way that you present your ideas and convey your thoughts.
Yeah, it's always good to have a plan on paper.
Not even just on paper. It's just, again, it's the thought process.
Yeah.
Like that. Because even the way that I talk now, it's just like, okay, I could convey my thoughts about games and stuff. I'm like, this game is the bomb. This game is stuff, and that's cool and everything. But like to act, be articulate about how you feel about a game, without even just being on one extreme or the other, just being a little bit more nuanced and just conveying thoughts where people could be like, oh, even though I might not agree with you, I'll get something out of this. I feel like you're coming from someplace like that.
I remember years ago I tried to review games for my channel, and I didn't write nothing. I just wing it, go for it, because that was like my perspective is just whatever just came to my mind. How do I think about the game? Do I like it? Because I like to give people like my perspective. I'm not a journalist. I'm not like a big content creator like an Angry Joe who does his game reviews. But I do watch, though it's long, but it's just...
Love Angry Joe. I watch a lot of them.
But it's like, there's a lot that he puts into his review, and you get a lot, he's telling you what he liked about it, what he disliked, like, a lot of stuff. And it's entertaining on top of that as well. But for someone like me, I just go for, something a little bit short, and I just I'm going to just get to the point.
Everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Yeah,
even with some of the stuff I just said now, it might not work for you. It might not work for you. It might not work for some people out there watching this now. But it's still something that, you could look into and at least take what is useful and reject what is useless. Again, it's a Bruce Lee quote. Adapt what is useful and reject what is useless. See what works for you and kind of adapt into your own thing. And then you could go about it in your own way. And then that'll be something you could present to other people that, and they could look at it in the same way, hopefully.
Yeah. I want to get back into reviewing games. It's just time.
Yeah, time is really the thing that stops everybody. But you should do it though.
I felt this.
You should do it. You should do it even if it's something simple. Like you don't even need the crazy edits. You don't need the highly produced video and stuff. Even if it's just you with some gameplay, because I've seen this on YouTube plenty of times that somehow gets thousands of views. Just them behind a mic talking about a bunch of stuff and then just pulling random clips from their gameplay and stuff and just put together. And there you go. Boom. That's your review. Instant subs.
Noted.
Yeah, because I have too many games.
There's so many.
I have
The arsenal never ends with us.
The backlog just stays big.
Yeah, my backlog stays big.
It never ends. The homework never ends. That's like
Yeah.
the Yu Hakusho opening ending. The homework never ends because there's just so many games to play. Never enough time.
Yeah, never enough time. I would need at least a good month off from my actual job.
Probably for me. Anyway.
Just to at least catch up on a few games that I'm currently playing or games that I do want to play, because I grew up, of course, we all grew up playing video games, and you remember putting in hours and hours into a game because you didn't have to worry about going to work, or let's just say it's summer now, so not a lot of kids are not going to school.
Vacay.
So what are you doing most of the time? You're playing games.
That's what I used to do when I was living in New York, especially like middle, high school. I don't remember the exact timing. Used to be home, especially on the weekdays when school was out, playing in Final Fantasy X in AC. Like having the AC just blast on me and just playing Final Fantasy X for the first time. I remember that vividly, just like how that felt. But it'd be moments like that where, it just stands out to you. And it's just, not everybody's different. They have their own versions of stuff like that.
Yeah, because 24 hours, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and then the other 8 hours, you got to handle stuff like adult life sucks.
You got to do stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, man, just give me a minute just to relax.
So for those that are watching or listening and you're under the age of 18 and you're still in high school, do not rush to become an adult, because I'm going to tell you right now, you may think things are, nice and cool and whatnot, but then eventually you're gonna have less and
your
less time
Time.
playing video games, and you're just like, oh my goodness.
It's a drop kick.
And then what makes it worse? A sale.
Oh God!
Oh, my
Let me tell you
God.
something about the PSN sales, and then the eShop sales are getting there. They're not there yet, but when the PSN flash sales hits, they're like the Steam sales. So like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a free for all.
Yeah.
So I was getting games that were like almost $60 at one point for less than like $1. I was like, because of whatever the sale is, on top
Dude,
of
I know that
PlayStation
feeling
Plus
so
discount.
well.
I was like, yes, my backlog is going to be ridiculous after this. Like, that's just my PlayStation 4. Don't even talk to me about my Vita, my PS3, when I had the Xbox One, okay? And then the eShop, Nintendo's trying to get on this. I see what y'all are doing. I see what you guys are up to. Like, but it's fun though, like especially because that helps out with certain games that I don't play immediately, like on the moment. Like for example, I played The Last of Us late, and I think The Last of Us is a great game. It's not for everybody, but it's an awesome game on PlayStation 4. I played it late. I want to do the exact same thing with The Last of Us Part 2. Like it's because at the time we're recording this, it's coming out fairly soon.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably gonna play Ghost of Tsushima on day one. And then
Same
later,
here.
I'll get to The Last of Us Part 2. It's the same thing. Even Spider-Man. We were talking about Spider-Man a while back.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, I didn't play on day one. I waited a while, but then when Game of the Year edition came out and I was able to play it just like that, enjoyed the hell out of that game. It's different for everybody, but it's little things like that. You don't necessarily have to play every single game on day one. You could wait for those big sales and get them later on.
Yeah,
Get everything.
definitely.
Patience is definitely a virtue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then as soon as you get them, and it's like, yay, I got the game, and then you don't play it for a while.
That's how people are with Persona 5 Royal right now.
You don't play it for a while,
Yeah.
and then you end up forgetting, like, oh, I did not, like, you ever get that feeling where you go through your library of games that you bought, especially digital, and be like, wait, I bought this?
No, I never had that moment. But
I felt
know
this.
what
I
bought.
definitely felt this.
But it's like I know I'll put it in the back burner for a while, like
Yeah.
that. Especially if I bought it like less than $10. Depending on what game it is. Like I just got I just got Street Fighter 5 again at one point just to go back online and play it and stuff. And I've been away from that game for like a hot minute. Same thing with like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. That's another one. That's like again I just purchased at one point. I was like, okay, I'll get to this later on after everything I have to deal with.
I felt this, dude. I literally bought Division 2 for $3.
That's another one. Like some people with that Destiny 2. I feel like people are gonna be like that with Anthem.
Isn't Destiny 2 free to play now?
No, I don't think so. Destiny 2?
No, it is, like, up until...
I think until before you get the season passes.
I think up until not... I think...
You still have to buy those things to get
I think
even
up until
closer.
Oh,
Forsaken. I think up until Forsaken,
Oh, dear
it's
God.
free.
Okay. Because
And then-
I played Destiny 2 like right before launch.
I played
like, I've
it
been with
religiously.
that for a while. Because
I
did
played
the
it
review
religiously
cycle
after
for it, and It's
Forsaken.
like the games like that, especially when you come into them late, is like there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Like, I can imagine.
I ripped off my shirt after I got Ace of Spades. I was so happy.
You were good.
Yep.
I was like, that's it. I'm done.
When like,
I'm finished. It's
yeah,
over.
it was live on
It's
Twitch
alright.
actually like 2 years ago, but I don't know if I can get that clip.
Oh man,
I gotta get back into Destiny, but it's
I'm
just,
done with Destiny. I played way too much of Destiny.
I did Crucible specifically.
Oh my god! Well, that, but also just doing the PVE stuff, like just in general.
Oh, yeah.
The raids, like because again, the raids we got to plan out.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't get
Well,
me started on the
against
raids.
But like I played so much of that game because I went to. Funny enough, I went to Bungie's headquarters to go do the preview event and also the review event for
Oh my
Destiny
gosh.
2. And I got to go visit Bungie, which was like freaking awesome because as a Halo fan, it's like, yo, I was seeing stuff that was on G4. You remember the Master Chief statue with the
Oh my
G4
God.
medallion? I saw that. I was like, wow.
That's what a
Younger
little
me
tear in
would
my eye.
freaked out when they saw this. But like, I played so much of that game of Destiny 2 is that there was a point where I was like, okay, I need to play other games. Because
Yeah.
I played so much of that. I felt like that about Call of Duty. At one point, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, even Infinite Warfare. Like, most of the Call of Duty games, I feel like everybody at some point gets like that. When you spend a lot of time playing with their friends, especially online games, there's a point where I feel like you reach just like, okay, I need to go play something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just done with this. Like, let me go play like an RPG, a JRPG, a fighting game, or something to get away from this.
Yeah, it was like, I was like that with Battlefield 4. Like, I dumped
Yeah.
so many hours.
Battlefront 2 was also another one for me that was like that. And I'm
So
a big
many
Star Wars
hours.
fan. It's like, no, I gotta stop. Like,
Yeah, you had to force yourself to stop. In another game, I had to force myself to stop. Skyrim.
Skyrim, I feel like though, but that's
Oh
a
my
little
God.
different because that's like a single player
It's more of a relaxed.
RPG. You know what's like that too? The Witcher. The Witcher's fan. I got into The Witcher late from everybody, and I caught it at the time when the Witcher Netflix series was on, and I was like, freaking, let's go Witcher for like a good month or two. With it, but then there was another one. Like once I finished all the DLC stuff, I was like, okay, I could step away from Witcher. I'm good. Like,
Yeah, usually I switch games just because I need a mental break. Like if you are overwhelmed in a game or you just get so pissed off, I just switch to a different game just to switch my momentum.
Yeah, and I feel like that sometimes helps out with getting over like a hurdle, especially a hard section. But you're just like, okay, I just can't. Bloodborne and the Souls games, I feel like are like that. I have a real thing against the Souls games sometimes because I feel like those games are hard. They're really hard for the sake of being hard to actually get you frustrated. And I say this, understand, chat, understand. I say this as someone who had to write the guide for Dark Souls 2: Scholar of the First Sin. That is not fun. I wish that on nobody.
My God.
Okay, I can agree with you on Dark Souls 2 because
I wish that
I
on nobody.
struggled in that game.
That game is not easy.
I couldn't even play the first
and here's
one.
the thing. Saying that as to Souls fans, they're like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking. You just suck at games." It's like, no, like really believe in it. And I've even met what's his name, the guy who created Dark Souls,
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki. I met him for when
Holy crap, that's awesome.
when what is it? Oh my God, Sekiro was coming out because I previewed Sekiro before it released like that. I got to meet him really briefly about it and see so. I get what they try to do with that style of game, and that's why a lot of other games copied them because it's just something that worked and resonated with a lot of people. But what really kind of stands out for me and why I'm not really feeling it a lot of the time is because when I look at challenge should be something that isn't there to frustrate you, and it's not there to be something where like you feel like the game's mechanics are even working against you. This is why I think like challenge. I look at games like Mega Man, look at games like Castlevania, look at games like Ninja Gaiden, stuff that's similar to that. I would even say Tenchu. If you really want to go.
Oh, Tenchu Z was my game.
Because Sekiro reminds me of Tenchu, and Neo reminds me of the same thing. It reminds me of Ninja Gaiden. But like that's where I feel like okay, these games were challenging in different ways and stuff, but it didn't feel like ever where the game was actively working to like piss you off or actively working where the mechanics are like flipped on you. And that's how I feel like sometimes with Dark Souls or Bloodborne.
Like Dark Souls 1, I'm still stuck in a cave. And
I'll never finish those games. I'm telling you right now.
I'm too much of a coward to get into it.
And it's pitch black, so I'm still stuck there. Dark Souls 2, I finally finished it, and I said, I'm never coming back. I'll never
finish those games. It's not even because I don't want to. It's because I feel like I just can't. Because I like my patience or my frustration will get to a point where it's like it's just too much. And it's like I respect it. I respect the worlds and the world building, the design, the overall stick of all those games. Phenomenal. I feel like that's what Castlevania should borrow from in some way, like a future Castlevania game. Like what Lords of Shadow tried to do, it should be borrowing from games like that. Right. But gameplay-wise, it just is not something that I really feel. And I love Sekiro. I think Sekiro is dope. But same thing. I feel the same exact way.
Dark Souls 3, that is my favorite game of all time. That it literally became my favorite game to the point where I did New Game Plus and beat it again.
I can tell you, I respect it, and the fandom is all cool. I would not wish anybody writing a guide on that game. Again, that was the last time I will ever do that. And I did it for that, and I did it for the DLC for Neo. Okay, and for me, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of First Sin was the one that really kind of broke me because it took me weeks. I had to get a friend to help me out where we had to kind of like call summon to do the multiplayer against the boss fights because he loved, at least my friend loved Dark Souls and he was all in on it. And I was like, listen, I need help because there's no way I'm going to finish this project if I don't get any help. Because there are moments in Dark Souls 2 and even in all the Dark Souls games where like when you enter a room and just the boss is standing there staring at you waiting. I forgot, I don't remember what the name of the boss was, but it was in Dark Souls 2 where it's like this big Pegasus, I think, or this big horse that's like a chariot thing.
Oh,
with red eye. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You fight it like twice. The second time you see it, it's like you're going into this room and you see it from a distance, it's like these red eyes just staring at you. And it's like, I don't know if it's by design or something, but it like looks dead at you and it's like, look, come here, motherfucker, I'm going to destroy you. Like that, and it just comes and just like messes you up. It's like moments like that, it's like that gets like super frustrating. To me, man.
It does.
Beat Bloodborne. Bloodborne was way
Bloodborne, I feel
tough.
like was ridiculous, dude.
It's tough to the point where I didn't even buy the DLC. Like, as soon as I beat it, done. And Sekiro, man.
Sekiro, I like it because of the ninja aspect. I love the grapple arm that you have, like the ninja tool and stuff. I think that stuff is so cool. And I think also what makes that one a little bit more appealing to people like me is because it's so based on action where I feel like I'm not so stifled compared to Dark Souls or even compared to Bloodborne where I can feel like I could do more stuff. You know what's like that too? Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order is a little bit more kind of like in Sekiro where I feel like I have a lot more breathing room to do stuff even though everything in the world is out to get me.
Right.
Like that. But
yeah, I've seen gameplay and I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a little hard to describe, but you know it when you feel it once you're playing it. It's like, okay, I feel like I could do a little bit more. I don't feel so restricted.
Yeah, I'd say my first trial and error kind of style of game, Devil May Cry.
Funny enough, I just reviewed all the Devil May Cry
I
games.
saw that.
Yeah.
I just reviewed, and the thing is, those games are challenging, but not in the same way as. The
Oh no,
Souls
no,
games.
it definitely
You
isn't.
could do a lot of stuff in that game, and I feel like where some of those games mess up, the Devil May Cry games I'm talking about, mess up is that they sometimes don't always get the balance right when it comes to the damage output from enemies.
That is true.
And the frequency, and also the super armor of enemies. Because I know DMC3 has that as you go to the harder difficulties and stuff. But like older games like DMC1, like the later difficulties have a
Oh
big
my
problem with that. Because again,
God.
it's a little bit older.
It was ridiculous.
Definitely.
Just Royal Guard everything. That's a challenge itself.
Well, I love the Gunslinger in
Yes.
that one. I love Swordmaster in that one. Those are the ones I use the most, especially when I was reviewing those games recently and stuff. Like, because those are just more fun to me to use like that. But the stories in those games, I feel like, are what really make them besides the gameplay.
I would use a time skip and a Royal Guard just to troll.
And Devil May Cry 2 sucks. That's the other thing.
I agree
Devil
because
May Cry 2 is
the
horrible.
order was mixed up and it was never explained until later.
Yeah.
It's bad when Capcom does the recap for DMC5 and they give like 2 lines to Devil May Cry 2. It's like, okay, let's move on now. Let's go to Devil May Cry.
It never
I
happened.
remember seeing that. I could not stop laughing because it was like, wow, even you guys are ashamed of this game. It was like, wow,
It was just
so
weird.
funny.
It was just a
So,
nutshell.
fans of Devil May Cry know that they made a mistake with number 2, but all the other games are not so bad.
Yeah, the only reason why that game is bad is because of the behind-the-scenes stuff. They changed directors at one point when I was doing some research for that review. They changed directors. They changed also a lot of the story beats because it was actually supposed to be a much bigger game than what it originally came out to be. And also keep in mind, like some of the characters, like Trish, she's only there as a playable character after you beat the game like twice.
Yeah.
And stuff. She's not part of the story. Which I think for a lot of fans, especially if you came off of Devil May Cry 1, it's like, where the hell is Trish? That's like Dante's mother. Like, she's a big part of the game. What happened? Or what's the fall from Mundus and all this other stuff? But I feel like once they got into Devil May Cry 3 and they brought it back to a lot of elements, including Virgil, especially who was also a big part of
I
the
love
game.
Virgil.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he was a big part, but you didn't see him a lot in Devil May Cry 1. But like making that like the central conflict with Dante and focus more on Dante than anything else, I felt like that's what recovered that series. And then the gameplay was just so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
DMC2.
definitely. I mean, all right, so it's good to hear that you've been to like a lot of places, met a lot of people.
I know that's goals.
I've been to right now as of now, humble brag, right? I've been to E3 5 times. I've been to PSX about 3 times. No, 2-3 times now. I've been to PAX about 3 times right now, and also Comic-Con in New York Comic Con multiple times. Covering it as media. I'm not going just as a fan. I'm actually getting approved to go as media and actually go cover the events. So, besides everything down here in South Florida, which I wish I could go to more events as media or as a talent in South Florida, so I could go cover some of these events for like my YouTube channel and stuff. But again, I feel like for some reason, sometimes it's a lot easier to go to a lot more of these bigger national events, like an E3 that would approve me. But for whatever reason, some of the events down here in South Florida won't approve me to go to cover their events, which I think sucks. Because I feel like, as someone that goes to events and likes to do that type of work and stuff, it'd be beneficial for those events for me to be there and actually do that stuff. And I don't think a lot of events down here have really caught on to that.
Right. So what is the one place you would like to go? Like what game publisher, developer you would like to go and meet and whatnot?
Like to actually work with or just to see stuff or just interact with in general?
Yeah.
Not a gaming event, but just like an actual maker, publisher of games?
Yeah.
Square Enix. I think that's one thing. I've had friends of mine that have gone to places like Japan and gone to other events and met with a lot of the big Square Enix head people. And I've come across a couple of them. I actually met Yoshi P. If you guys don't know who Yoshi P is, he's the one that did the stuff for A Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy 14. That's his thing. I met him. There's a picture floating around somewhere with me and him at E3 where he was just chilling out at the start of E3, and I got a quick selfie with him like that because I recognized who that was. But there's other people I would love to meet Tetsuya Nomura. Because I know a couple of friends that have talked to me about that. They can't share pictures of it, but they've met Nomura in a few times, talking about Kingdom Hearts and
I have some complaints
and other things.
to
But I want to meet those people. I've met and seen other Square Enix people, but I want to be able to do that in an official capacity and actually be like, hey, how's it going? I'm appreciative of your work and stuff and all these other things. I've interviewed a couple. People that have worked on some of those games, like Okayama-san, Hironori Okayama was the one who did the Kingdom Hearts mobile game. He's the producer of it. I actually did an interview twice with him, one of which went viral because everybody took it. The Kingdom Hearts fandom is really stupid sometimes.
Yes, it is.
You mention anything about Kingdom Hearts 3 at the time, and immediately everybody's like, oh my God, this thing confirms something about Kingdom Hearts 3, which was never the case. It blew up on like a bunch of websites, which by the way, never gave me the credit. Not cool. Just saying. No, for real. Like that's a thing, like specifically for that community and some of the websites. Like there are a few websites that do good stuff like that where they go through the motions and they're like hit you up for comment or make sure they credit like your video and your source and stuff.
That's
a couple
true.
others don't do that. And I don't think that's very cool. As someone
Yeah,
that's
that's
traditional media like that, where one of my, funny enough, offshoot that, you guys know who Richard Epcar is? Not at all?
No.
I don't
Okay.
believe so.
Richard Epcar is the voice of Ansem in Kingdom Hearts. He's also the voice of Raiden in Mortal Kombat, and he's also the voice
Oh,
of
snap.
Bato from Ghost in the Shell. He does a ridiculous amount. You've heard his voice in like almost every anime and stuff. I did an interview with him where we talked a little bit about the recording of the voice acting stuff for the DLC of Kingdom Hearts 3. Couple websites out there that are big Kingdom Hearts websites reported on it and tried initially not to give me the credit. They actually transcribed my interview, didn't even link back to the video. And stuff.
Wow.
Oh
And
my God.
It was like
Go
over
back and
3-something thousand retweets or favorites and stuff. Not seen on my video. No views like that. My interview, not review. My interview only got like a couple hundred views, which was a
They
damn
did you
shame,
dirty, man.
which was not cool.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
not-
And that was my original content. He actually did me a solid, actually coming to talk with me about stuff because we were not just talking about Kingdom Hearts 3, we were talking about voice acting stuff. Fantastic interview you guys should listen to because we talked a bunch.
Noted.
Did not know that people can be quite scumbags. out.
For the record, that's really because of the hits and for the views. Like, there's a thing called etiquette, and courtesy, common courtesy, professional courtesy, like that. And you see that from certain places. There, like I believe it was KH13 that actually hit me up and actually sourced my interview when they reported on it because they saw all these other places. And one of the people over there hit me up was like, "Hey, is this true? Is this you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's my thing." So they did that for me, but a couple others, not really. Yeah,
That's definitely not cool.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm just saying.
Like, where's the integrity, y'all?
Shots fired.
Where's the integrity?
I'm just saying.
Ah,
But yeah, I would say Square Enix would be the one that I would want to do that stuff because I've met some people at Capcom and places like E3. Like I met Ono-san, like Yoshihiro Ono. If anybody doesn't know that's listening to this, he's the guy who did the stuff for Street Fighter 4 and now also like other stuff at Capcom. I've met briefly Harada-san for Tekken, for Bandai Namco.
I need to have a word with him.
Like he's
Yeah.
cool in person. Like here's the thing. Let me tell you a funny story about Harada-san. And I know I don't want this to be too long. I went to Bandai Namco's new offices in California one time because I got flown out to go see their lineup at that year of their games, and one of them happened to be Tekken 7. This man, like he was like, he must have been listening to Michael Jackson or something. Like he was on some Michael Jackson stuff where it was like all planned out when we first walk into the building. All of a sudden, there's a figure there sitting on a stool in front of a Tekken 7 arcade machine imported from Japan, and it's Harada-san, but he's wearing a Pac-Man board suit that every little part of it is a Pac-Man board matching. I swear to God, this guy was matching so much all the way down to the shoes. I swear to God, he probably had the underwear too.
Judas Priest, that's awesome.
This man was on point, and I could not believe it. I was like, yo, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And he was just playing Tekken 7, just like hanging out or whatever. We got to play the game before everybody else on the arcade cabinet, which was dope.
Oh my God.
Nice.
That was awesome back then, but like it was just a fun,
Are
cool
they selling
experience.
the arcade cabinet? Because
I would not be surprised. I'll tell you right now, maybe. Like, obviously now it's out on consoles, like, people buy that, but like for anybody, I'm pretty sure you could find a way to get one of those. But that particular one was imported from Japan.
Wow.
In the Bandai Namco offices, which by the way, have a Mobile Suit Gundam statue and a Dark Souls statue when you first
I'm
enter
sorry,
the
what?
building.
okay,
I was like,
I
yo,
need
this
to go
is,
there.
this is amazing.
All right, we got to take
This
a
is
trip.
awesome.
Yeah, we.
I'm not
definitely
sure
gotta
when
do
This
this.
is freaking
or where, but we got to take
It
a
was
trip.
a fun experience because I got to play a lot of games there besides that. There was also the Sword Art Online Hollow Realization, I believe it was, that was coming out. And then there was also the One Piece game, the fighting game.
Oh, I
Burning
remember.
Blood, I think it was. One Piece
I remember
Burning
hearing
Blood.
about
I
it.
remember.
And also the Mobile Suit Gundam game that was on the PS Vita. I can't remember which one. I think it was Mobile Suit Extreme Versus or something like that. It was a Vita game that was originally in Japan but came here to the States. And I think that was about it at the time because I think even like there was also a DBZ thing that we briefly got to see, but it wasn't really anything big at the time. Can't remember off the top of my head. There was a lot when we saw. It was like their E3 lineup that was going to be for that year, but also other games. It was a lot of stuff overall. But yeah, Harada-san with his outfit.
I need to have a word with him.
Yeah.
With Tekken 7
I've got some
because
crazy stories.
I think we all do.
from different people I've met in the industry. It's pretty funny.
Harada, I'm cool with you, but you got to do something with them Tekken 7 servers on the PS4. I'm just saying.
I want
Don't
5
Harada-san.
connections.
He's savage on Twitter. He's not
Yeah.
as savage as Kamiya-san. Like, Hideki Kamiya. That dude is savage. I've met him before, and he's mad
Are we
chill.
talking about like Wendy's Twitter savage or like?
No, he's probably got a leg up with him over Wendy's.
Oh my God.
Because he blocks people like really quickly. But like he's like really like chill, like in person, like really relaxed and stuff. But he's like a beast. Rod is getting up there. I feel like it's the Japanese like people, like the Japanese like directors, producers, or developers that are just fed up with everybody's nonsense, and they're just being savages to everybody online.
I don't blame them because
The only one maybe that's exception to that is probably Kojima, because he's just way too cool for like everything. I got a funny Kojima story too. Like, God,
we got to hear that one.
Kojima, I had never met Kojima like at a conversation. I met him very briefly where we said hello at like places like E3. There's one time he was just like lurking around like the Death Stranding booth and stuff with the life-size statue of what is it, Norman Reedus from the game, and he was just lurking, hoping nobody will spot him, and he's just taking pictures of the statue and stuff. But you look at him and you realize who it is and stuff. But he was clowning this one person that was directing people to get the pictures with the statue and stuff. And she tried to direct him to tell him, like, no, you go stand here. And mind you, that's his game. That's his game. So what she realized who it was, you could see in the expression in her face, she was like, oh my God. Like, there was a moment that you could click like stuff. But the Kojima story that stands out to me is that I had a friend one time when we went to E3 that went to the bathroom one time where we were running around. And he goes there for maybe about 5 or 10 minutes or so. And he comes back out white as a ghost. And we're looking at him, I was like, yo, you okay? Like, what's the problem? So he goes, guys, you don't understand. I was like, well, what happened? Did something happen? Like, do we have to go, like, beat up somebody or whatever? Right. He's like, guys, you don't understand. I just took a piss next to Hideo Kojima. Like, he was done after. And then, knowing us, we start clowning him the whole day over this.
Oh.
So let me get this straight. Did he show you his big boss? Did he show you his silent snake? You know? Well, I mean, did he take you to outer heaven? Like, we were clowning him all day. And it was just funny because every time we see Kojima walking around, which, by the way, walks around with an entourage, wearing the Diamond Dogs, like, jacket. It's like, because remember, Metal Gear Solid 5 back then was a big thing coming out and stuff. Wearing a Diamond Dogs leather jacket with an entourage that had to be at least about 15 people.
Oh, my
like
gosh.
that, walking around and, like, signing random Metal Gear. Like, he looked like a rock star. The coolest Japanese dude that I've ever seen. Straight up. Like, it was funny. So goofy. Games industry is goofy.
Well, man, it is so great to hear that not only we have someone local that is, very deep into games media and has years of experience. So he's credible, y'all. Mm-hmm. He is very credible, and he knows what he's talking about.
I'm a little biased, but yeah, I could confirm I'm credible. I might be a little biased. I'm just saying. I know what I'm talking about.
Tiny bit.
So I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we have this conversation because usually I had my perspective of games media and journalism and whatnot, but now after talking with you. Changed.
And you know something? I'm always willing to talk about this stuff. Like, a lot of people don't understand or don't realize, like, even though I've done a lot of this stuff and I continue to do stuff, and I'm not done yet. Like, I have other things I want to do. I'm not reached my goals yet. And I'm pretty sure there's other people, obviously, you could point to that have done more and have been part of this industry more than I have. But, like, I'm always willing to keep the conversation going about this stuff or just about gaming in general. I'm willing to talk to people. You find a lot in the industry now these days over the last few years where people are a little bit trying to make themselves exclusive, a little bit obnoxious in some ways, and I'm not really feeling that. Even, like, content creators and YouTubers that you see sometimes with that. Like, the E-fame gets a little bit too much to their heads, and I think that you have to be a little bit more open and willing to talk to more people. Granted, I don't have a huge following now, so obviously things change when you start having millions of people follow you and stuff. But I feel like even then, you have to be willing to at least, share maybe a little bit of your perspective, your knowledge, your wisdom, and other stuff for other people that are alongside you, and also maybe not just behind you, but like here with you in general.
I agree.
Like that. Yeah. I find way too many people that are just so like keeping things to themselves and very exclusive with their thoughts, thinking that everybody's trying to get them or thinking that everybody's trying to get a leg up on them. And that's not always the case. You can't be like that at all.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go into some topics for our episode and disappointing games of this generation.
Oh my God!
Oh dear.
So who wants to start off first?
I don't volunteer.
You don't volunteer?
I am not.
I'm gonna look up the release schedule just as I'm talking to all of you guys. But like one of the games that comes to mind that I know a lot of people have not liked was it Resident Evil 3 remake. A lot of people said that was disappointing. Like stupid. I love Resident Evil 2 remake. That was my game of the year last year. And I haven't gotten a chance to really sit down and play RE3 remake, but the conversation around it, a lot of people said like that's pretty bad.
I've heard that it was short.
Yeah.
Some people said that it was really short. But also I think that there's been other games that have come out that have been pretty rough, pretty bad, like overall. Maybe like a little bit worse than that. Like again, I'm like trying to like scroll through like some of the schedule that came out this year. Like some people would even say the same thing about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but I never played it. I only got to preview it at E3 and stuff, but other people have better context for it.
I haven't even watched the gameplay.
Well, I'll start off with my disappointing games of this generation. One of them being Final Fantasy 15.
Final Fantasy this generation. Okay, so that's different because there's a lot more games than because I'm thinking like just this year. So really, but Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah, it was
Like
disappointing.
okay, disappointing is different than like garbage. Like I think we should clarify that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, it was real disappointing because from start to finish, and once I got to like the end, I'm just like, that's it. I did all of this, wanted to see where the story was gonna go, and that's it. And then later on, DLC for all the other characters, and I'm just like, why wasn't this in the main game?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like I would have loved it. Like it would add more value to my purchase if all the characters, backstory and their version and their backstory of the game was actually in the full game of Final Fantasy 15.
Which how it should be by default.
Yeah, and you're splitting it up.
You want to know what that is? As someone that's covered and watched that game since it was Versus 13, is that it's a victim of the behind-the-scenes development cycle for a number of different reasons. Remember, it was going to be Final Fantasy Versus 13. It was
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
remember
released
that.
as the Fabula Nova Crystallis with Final Fantasy 13, and also Final Fantasy, what is it? I forgot the original name of it, but it was Type 0. What ended up becoming Final Fantasy Type 0 on PS Vita and also eventually on PS4. The thing about it is that what sucks is that there was, at one point, that game was being made, I believe, directed by Tetsuya Nomura, and then they pulled him off of it and they put, I forgot the other guy's name. Not Tayus. I can't remember the person's name, but it was a different person who was like, okay, let's finish this game now because it's like taking way too long, and they rebranded it as Final Fantasy 15 when they dropped the whole Fabula Nova Crystallis thing. Like that was done.
Yeah.
That was never going to work because Final Fantasy 13 was just trash. Like in hindsight of everything there, even for me personally, like I felt like all three of those games, like 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns, did not resonate with a lot of people. It wasn't what the type of Final Fantasy game we were hoping for because it was trying to do way too many weird stuff and being whatever it is. And I feel like 15, in the aftermath of that stuff, was a victim of all the stuff behind the scenes with it. Because remember, they even had an event that showed the release date, and then they had to delay it afterwards after doing this big event that was going down. Like, it's one of those things, it's like, come on now, son. Like, can this really be the case? Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty terrible. But I mean, I liked Final Fantasy 15, but I understand the disappointment with it.
Yeah,
It makes a lot of sense. And also keep in mind, we didn't get some of the other DLC that was originally planned that got canceled. We were supposed to get one about Luna Freya at one point that got canceled straight up.
Didn't know
And
about
Aranea. That was the other one that we were supposed to get. I think. And there was supposed to be more. They did a whole survey about, okay, what do you guys want to see? And they had all this stuff planned for a season 2. I remember because they had a PAX panel for it that I didn't get to go to. I think it was PAX Prime or one of the other PAX shows that wasn't PAX East. And that just never materialized. They just cold cut stopped it.
They practically packs up.
They packed it up, yeah. They really did. In fact, it was like, okay, let's go home. Like, it was pretty sad. But I understand why. Like, again, it was what it was. They were hoping to kind of stretch it out for more, for people to kind of like make that into more of a bigger thing. But keep in mind, Realm Reborn was really where a lot of people were also really kind of getting behind with Final Fantasy. They wanted to do Kingdom Hearts 3. That was another thing. Dragon Quest, and then also Final Fantasy 7 Remake, which, again, stretches you very thin amongst all these projects over a period of years. Like, you can only do so much at one time.
And the other game that you just mentioned, Kingdom Hearts 3.
I can understand that being a disappointment.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was disappointed, even though I scored it when I wrote about it and I did a video review of it, I said that the game was great for what it was. But I was very disappointed because now we have more games we have to get more details upon. There was a lot of stuff about that game that wasn't included that is now part of Remind, but even then, like, just wasn't really kind of like put together. I felt like that should have been our moment, like what Uncharted 4 was for Kingdom Hearts fans.
Like,
we didn't get, or our Metal Gear Solid 4 moment. Like where everything's coming together.
Yeah.
Everything's coming to an end. It's a grand finale. We didn't get that.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, like that's what I wanted because it's been so long that we had to wait for Kingdom Hearts 3.
You realize we had over 6 games, probably. Yeah, I
Okay.
think about 6 games since Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 3, all those spin-off titles. I think, yeah, so...
Nintendo DS, PS3.
Well, DS, 3DS, PS3, Well, no,
PSP.
PSP. I mean, because the PS3 never got its
Birth
own
by
console.
Oh,
Okay, that was
snap,
PSP.
you're right.
Okay, but I'm
Yeah,
not
Birth by
counting the
Sleep.
re-releases like that, but also multiple times on the 3DS and multiple times on the DS because you got 358/2 recoded. The mobile game that everybody forgets, which ended up becoming recoded. Like we had mad games this thing before Kingdom Hearts 3. But my point is that we never got that finale moment, and I feel like it's because they know what they have with Kingdom Hearts as a franchise that they want to keep it going. And I get it. I don't think that we needed the back cover movie because this entire story of Kingdom Hearts is completely confusing now. Even people that know what's up don't really know what's up.
It's a cluster.
Yeah. I'm just like,
Do they have a
what is
recap
even,
for this?
I'm like, yo, what is even going on with this?
I don't even think Nomura knows what's up. I feel like he's just winging it.
Like,
He's
is there,
okay.
like, an actual recap for this?
Closure. I wanted that closure with Kingdom Hearts 3 and just be like, okay, all the main bad guys are coming. All the, Keyblade Warriors are coming. This is going to be it. This is going to be one grand epic battle because if you remember Kingdom Hearts 2 and how epic the last battle was,
Yes.
I was expecting that.
Having
And
Riku
then
as your
I'm
partner
just
is
like,
amazing.
Kingdom Hearts 2 had a great ending for what it was leading into that teaser at the very end, post credits, to what Kingdom Hearts 3 was. And then that obviously was the teaser for Recoded, for what that was, that little thing with the message from Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, I feel like they've wung it. They've wung it. They are winging it as they go. I know a lot of people, a lot of different places. Like we even have a couple people down here in South Florida that cover Kingdom Hearts extensively that are doing all the theorizing and all this other stuff. But even then, I feel like sometimes it just has gotten so convoluted and it's gotten far away from what Kingdom Hearts originally was, the main concept, which is what the blending of Final Fantasy and Disney, which now has become more Square Enix and Disney. But it's like the idea originally was supposed to be you'll never know who will show up next.
Yeah.
And like that was like the whole thing behind it and the idea of like, friendship and all this stuff. But it's just gone way overboard all over the place. That's just like, wow.
And I felt like the enemies in the game were either really, really easy because either the enemies were easy or Sora was just ridiculously overpowered.
Kingdom Hearts has no like real grasp on difficulty. Any of the games. Like I don't even say that about Kingdom Hearts 2 and 1 or 1 and 2, but like it's just where I feel like some of the really hard stuff is ridiculously hard unless you do meticulous stuff in order to get past it. Like the one thing I always thought was really indicative of this was the PSP game Birth by Sleep. That final battle against the mysterious figure, that drops the frame rate because the PSP can't handle what's going on and everything happening. Yeah, like if you go look up footage of it or even go play it yourself, go fight the mysterious figure and the frame rate drops, it has to be below 10 frames. Like it gets that bad. And now it's not as bad in the re-release, the final mix version on the different consoles, but it's still, you could see it. Like it's things like that where it's like, okay, this is just difficult because of all these other reasons. And I get that also from some of the other battles later on, even the data battles for some of the stuff in Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3 even, from the Remind DLC. Or even the Yozora fight from the Remind DLC. Like some of this stuff is like ridiculously hard for no reason. And people eat that up, I get it, but I just never resonated with it. I always felt like it just did not have an understanding what good difficulty could be.
And my last game that I got disappointed with this gaming generation was Code Vein.
I never resonated with Code Vein. I've seen that multiple times at events, and I always wrote it off as like another Soul-style game, and I never cared for it.
It's an anime Souls game.
Yeah.
And out of all the Souls games, it is the easiest one.
Really?
Easiest.
Easier. Well, it's hard to say that about Souls games. But like, to me, the easiest one that I thought of a Soul-style game would be Neo. Personally, for me, at least in my understanding. But Neo's pretty hard like that. And I would even say Sekiro, but again, Sekiro could get pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, Code Vein is very, very easy. Like the only thing challenging about the game were the controls.
Yeah. I know that game, those style of games, and especially Code Vein, when I saw it, is not a good game to demo at an event. Like I've seen it twice at E3, I think. Yeah, at E3 and maybe PAX, I could say, because Bandai Namco brings multiple games to different events. When I've seen it every time, I never really go and play it because it's like, I don't want to sit there for like maybe 20, 30 minutes because I got places to go and do other stuff to understand just the most basic thing about it. It's a game that just doesn't demo well.
Yeah, and then you have the story of Code Vein, and it started off good. Like I like the concept of it, of this post-apocalyptic world where you need blood from actual humans to survive, and you're a revenant, so even though you die, you'll come back again. And if you don't get enough blood, then you end up becoming a frenzy, and you end up becoming one of the lost.
Which is like a monster, basically, right?
Yeah. So you need the blood to survive, so that way you can maintain yourself and somewhat of your humanity, even though you've already died as a human. it's the only thing that you have, and you end up when you become a revenant, you don't have your human memories. So I like that concept, but then the story just kind of just dragged on, and I'm just like, whatever.
Some games are like that.
Yeah.
Some games it's just like sometimes you just got to check out. I feel
Yeah,
like you know I
I
never really,
was like, I was getting ready to like, yeah.
I
just
never
wanna
really
check
get this
out.
argument with people who's like, listen, once you get past the 10-hour mark, then it starts getting good. It's like, okay, listen, that's 10 hours, bro. Like, if this is why I like most Final Fantasy games where there's stuff happening at the very beginning within that first hour. Even, I would say like you play 30 minutes to an hour, I think that's a good amount of time. Some games I could even push it to like 2 hours of stuff. But when you start getting to like the 5, 10-hour mark, 15-hour, 20 hours, it gets good. Like, nah, like I could check out way before then and be like, okay, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And then you can literally farm in that game to become stupid overpowered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just clean through enemies. So that's just me. Those are my disappointing games for this gaming generation.
I would say Metal Gear Survive could be another one.
Oh,
That's one
my
that's like
God.
disappointing as hell.
I forgot about that game.
Exactly, you forgot about it. That's my point.
Don't even
it's
wanna
a little
talk
hard
about
to
it.
pick, best and worst of the generation because of stuff like that. Because there's certain games that have come out like a long time ago that we don't remember that were like horrible. Like I would even say that about Madden for some people, because again, even though I'm not a big Madden guy, like a lot of people would feel like that's another disappointing series. The NBA games, another one. The WWE games, especially now, the last couple. One that was on Switch, like broken practically, like broken. Like, and mind you, you have to download a good chunk of that game onto your SD card.
Ouch.
Besides the cartridge, like there's stuff like that that's like really crazy. Even I would even say Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was probably another disappointing.
I've
one.
heard.
Yeah.
I've heard the
that
same.
Stuff like that. Again, it really depends on the criteria and stuff. But there's a lot of games that you could probably pick.
I would say
Anthem is another one.
Oh,
Shooters.
yeah.
Anthem. I could definitely say that.
I foreshadowed it.
I tried to get into Anthem and I couldn't do it. And again, even as someone that was sick and tired of Destiny, I wanted to at least give it the chance, give it the benefit of doubt. But it's one of those things where I could totally understand where everybody's upset about it. Like that.
What about you? Your disappointing games of this generation.
Currently, I'd say Doom Eternal.
Disappointing?
Yes.
Like, really? How come?
They wanted to focus on a plot, but they couldn't grasp it, in my personal opinion. I focused on the plot of the game more than the actual gameplay. The gameplay was more challenging, more pressuring, which is good. But when it came to adding platforming, changing up the whole mode, it felt a little bit weird and wonky compared to playing Doom 2016, where it's just run and gun.
You know something, and it's funny too because a lot of people praise Doom 2016 for that same reason, where it didn't have a strong plot, but you didn't have to care about the plot. That was the thing about that I always thought was interesting about Doom, that reboot and stuff.
I'm one of those guys that care about the plot for some reason.
So probably in this one, they really try to put a little bit more emphasis like that, where it's a lot more at the forefront. Even though Doom, you're playing Doom for the gameplay, that's just how it is. A really experience of just like quick
True.
run and gun.
Then if you really want to
But
go
it's
on the
different.
game, you get like codex pages. Like you'll see floating pages around and it'll take time to read. You actually if you want to actually invest into it, you start reading the lore and tells you the origin story. Then it shows.
Didn't Destiny 2 technically have like something similar? I mean, Destiny 2 had a story and stuff like that, but it also had
Destiny 1.
the Grimoire. Or Destiny 1.
Yeah, Destiny 1 had the Grimoire.
Grimoire, yeah.
I remember
That's
this.
You have to literally get off the game, go to the Destiny app or the website.
You see, I don't like that personally.
Yeah.
I really think it's a
I never
terrible
got
idea.
into that deep.
Terrible idea.
Like, if you're going to have all of that, just add it to the game. Like, put it in the game somehow.
It's like playing Halo and you got to go read the novels to get like what's going on. It's like, no, it don't work that way.
It does not.
Yeah, but Doom is good gameplay, don't get me wrong, but they focus mostly on plot and it confused a lot of people. And there's literally a scene where one guy says, "Am I the Father?" which is like the creator of all things. That the Doom guy had in his pocket, and he never realized that. Like, nobody questions what just happened in that
That's weird.
towards the end scene.
Doom is as a series has never had a good plot because it was always so simple. Because Doom, even back on PC, like in some of the older Doom games, Doom 1 and 2, and even Doom 64, they were always more about just like the gameplay itself. There's very simplistic stories. It's like a fighting game story, like Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2's story is pretty simple, like that, and it's been more complex over the years, like that. But again, I felt the same way about Doom. I even felt the same way about Wolfenstein and even about Turok.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Wolfenstein story.
Well, Wolfenstein I think predates Doom by a little bit. Wolfenstein 3D, I mean specifically.
They're sort of the same universe that I found out later.
Oh, really? Like,
Yeah.
When you think about it?
Yeah, they considered the Doom guy like from the original, what was the system? Was it on Super Nintendo?
What, the Doom?
Like the first Doom.
The first Doom was on PC, and then it got ported to Super Nintendo.
Microsoft, my apologies. But they consider him being a descendant of Blazkowicz.
From Wolfenstein? Okay, I get that. I mean, hey, they own both IPs, so they can make that connection.
True.
Yeah, I got to give him a piece of my mind for that. But I wish they emphasized both universes a little bit more.
Gotcha.
So what about you? Your disappointing games?
I would say the ones I mentioned. I would say Anthem. I would say Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I would say Metal Gear Survive. And I think, yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure there's more that I'm thinking of that are like really garbage. Oh, The Quiet Man. Because that's another one that's like garbage. You guys never played this? I did it.
I've never even heard of it.
I have a video review of it on my YouTube channel.
What system is this for?
It's for PlayStation 4 and I think Xbox One too, but I know I played it on PS4. The Quiet Man is a horrible, horrible game because the idea behind it is cool. The concept behind it is great. It was that you're basically playing as a character that's deaf. That's basically
it's like that one movie.
Okay, yeah, kind of like they're trying to be a movie or blending of real life and gaming stuff. A very like early 2000s approach from Square Enix where they were trying to do that with some of their Final Fantasy games where the CG renders are the same as the gameplay and stuff. Same idea. But The Quiet Man has a really weird story. The gameplay is like broken and stuff. That you could probably put that in more of the category of bad games more than disappointing. But again, I put it disappointing because the concept is still something that could have been really amazing, and they just dropped the ball with it. Like, go look at my video review. I'm telling you, you'd be like, ugh, thank God I didn't play this game. And it's short. It's like 2 or 3 hours, I think. It's really short. It's really horrible.
God. You guys ever heard of Vampire Rain by any chance?
Vampire Rain? I've heard the name. I know of
Xbox 360. I just thought about it.
I've heard of it, yes.
I've heard the
Like,
name.
that's a disappointing game in a nutshell because it's mostly focused on stealth, where vampires will one-shot you. Like, you're supposed to go through a city, find a way to rescue somebody, and not alert vampires. You have all these weaponry, but it doesn't do much to vampires. You have to be, like, more quiet than Snake. Like, you have to be Snake on steroids. And that speaks volume.
There's a whole lot of Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid. Oh my God.
Oh, man. All right, so next topic. What feature would you like to see in the next-gen consoles?
Next-gen consoles, I think most of the stuff, especially quality of life stuff, I think we have already. That's just going to be reiterated on in the next consoles. I think also the next thing, because of streaming becoming such a big thing for people, you can stream from your consoles now.
Yeah.
But I would love to see maybe some of the capabilities that you would get from like an OBS or even like an XSplit.
Yeah.
Oh,
implemented
yeah.
Yeah, I would
into
like to
streaming
have
for
that.
consoles, because when you stream from a console directly from your PlayStation or your Xbox, even through Mixer like that on your Xbox, you can't get the same type of like customization and other elements that you
that's
get
true.
Yeah,
from
I would like
OBS.
to see that feature.
I think that maybe if there's a way to like approach that type of status, that would be kind of cool. But
I
I think
agree.
anything else that we could think of, I think at this point we've got most of the features, at least for now, that I could think of.
Yeah.
For this generation to next.
Yeah, because that was going to be one of my features I would like to see in the next-gen consoles is just more streaming customization and more streaming capabilities where now you can actually compete on the same level as someone who's streaming off of their computer with a capture card and then straight to Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Mixer, and whatnot. So that way,
that is true.
hey, even though I don't have a fancy laptop or Elgato capture card or AverMedia or a fancy mic, I can use the PS4 camera or the Xbox camera. Wait, do y'all still use the Kinect camera?
No, hell no. They dropped that like a bad habit.
Yeah, I know that, but
I just keep it because I have no
People
choice.
probably have it for like a webcam, for Skype or for anything else that they're doing, or even just streaming through Mixer.
I use it for
you can
Twitch
say the
once
same thing
every
about the
while.
PlayStation Eye, same exact thing.
I rarely use it for Twitch just because it's such a wide camera.
I'll tell you one thing that might not be as big as we hope to, because I don't think it's the technology really that's going to gestate a lot in gaming, virtual reality. And the reason why is because even from the very beginning of PlayStation VR and the Vive and all this other Oculus, everything else, I always said, and I got it from somebody else, that said that VR is going to thrive in other applications. Gaming is just to be where it's kind of like meandering around, just like playing around. But like PlayStation VR or just VR in general is going to be cool when you could have, a VR experience when you're at a concert or that you can't go to, or when somebody goes to the moon on another planet like Mars.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or when you go visit the space station, or when you go visit another country and stuff, there's a live stream through a camera that has VR where people could look through their VR headsets like that. That's where VR is going to be the shit. Like, it's going to be the most amazing thing ever. For gaming, there's some cool experiences I don't think they've capitalized on, like the X-Wing experience from Battlefront. I mean, you get something similar to that with Ace Combat. That's pretty dope. But like
Ooh.
playing games, even in first-person stuff like Resident Evil and a few other games, that's dope.
Oh,
but
that's
like that
awesome.
can only go so far. And there's been some dope experiences with VR with indie games, like oh my god, the one with the blades with the music, the rhythm game. Oh my
Beat
God.
Saber.
Beat Saber, and a few others that are like that are very cool. Even Blood and Stone, I believe it was the VR game experience, and Moss. Those are great VR experiences on PlayStation VR, but I really don't think that's the final form of virtual reality at all. I think you're not going to see as much of it next gen. As much as I would love to, and I think that there are games being developed for VR. I think that maybe Sony with the PlayStation 5, they implement different stuff with PSVR because, I mean, they're all in at this point like that. But I don't think it's going to be even bigger than what it is now.
Fair enough.
I'd go with backwards compatibility. In all honesty.
I think that's coming. I think
Yeah.
at this point now, with backwards compatibility, you're going to have your PS4 games playable on your PS5. Maybe PS3 games there like that. I don't think it's going to be fully backwards compatible like what Xbox has been trying to do. And they figured out a way to do it with the Game Pass and also just like backwards compat through the Xbox One or the Series X, or what this one's going to be called. Like,
It's
they did
interesting.
it for one for a while. So,
That's true. It is interesting. You can use your disc still for the Xbox 360.
yeah, which is crazy when you think about it. Like, not everything, but like at least a good
Yeah,
chunk.
I played a couple
bunch of
games.
stuff. Yeah.
Wish I could have streamed back then.
Which is cool. Like, and again, I think it's dope for them to figure that out because remember, for a long time they said that they weren't able to do that, and somehow they figured it out.
Yeah.
They did some magic.
Yeah, I did Black Ops 2, which was one of my favorites back in the day.
You know, and it's good to have that, especially for classics, because again, when you got like classics like Halo, the first few, even though we got Master Chief Collection, Jade Empire from the Xbox. I love Jade Empire.
Gears of War.
Knights of the Old
Classic.
Republic.
Classic game.
Was it? Oh my God. Beyond Good and Evil. Yeah, like stuff like that. Classics that you have the ability to play that stuff that aren't remastered, because some of those games have been remastered.
Yeah, and not only that, like some people, they want backwards compatibility because they still have the old games.
Exactly.
And it's hard for them to find the actual system itself. Like, you try to look for a really, really good condition PS2, it's going to take you a while.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
you're not going to pay an arm and a leg from eBay.
Yeah,
And sometimes people just don't want
Craigslist.
to download the game that they already got on a disc.
yeah.
There's just some games that you are not going to be able to get digitally because of rights, because of licensing, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, look what happened with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or just most of the Marvel vs. Capcom games that were classic. They got pulled from the store because the license ran out.
Oh.
The timing for the license ran out. And also the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games with Activision. Besides the re-release that they did, I think at one point they even got pulled from the store too. Like different stuff like that. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is another one.
Ah, yeah, that's
That was
true.
I think
I remember that
was
one.
digital only, I think, for a while. I don't think there's a physical version of that, if I'm not mistaken. But like stuff like you understand what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I just found out on the Xbox store they have, like, for Game Pass, Fusion Frenzy and Phantom Dust.
Yeah. The original Phantom Dust.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I know that they were trying to reboot Phantom Dust at one point. Like, I remember seeing like different like trailers for that, and they just never materialized.
It's an interesting game from what I played.
All right, next topic. Should remasters exist in the next gen?
Yes,
Yes.
hands down. Yes, and you will get in the next gen.
Yeah.
Because games like series or trilogies, Mass Effect, the Metal Gear Solid games, a lot of these iconic series and iconic games that people love, that swear by. Jet Set Radio. I bet you money that they're probably making a Jet Set Radio game, and when they do decide to re-release that classic Jet Set Radio Future, that'll be an indication that those are coming, because they can make money selling those games again.
Yeah.
Doing an HD remaster or just a re-release, just cause. Jack and Dexter, look at all the re-releases we got for God of War.
Oh,
my
yes.
God.
Or the
I
Uncharted
rebought it
games.
again.
Even
I forgot about that.
Devil May
Sly
Cry
Cooper,
1 through
Devil May
3.
Cry.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
all these games, like, there's money to be made there because people that love certain games will buy them again. Nintendo is notorious
Oh
for
my
doing
God.
this
Yes.
all the time on classic 2D games. Like, you're never going to see that go away. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You have the choice not to buy it.
That's true.
It's there for you if you want it. Look,
Yeah.
there's rumors now we're going to get the 3D Mario game, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine. 3D World might be re-released for the Nintendo Switch. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Hey, those are classic, iconic games. Galaxy.
Yep.
Another one. Like,
I also heard that there was a rumor of Bloodborne being remastered for
for PC.
Yeah, for PC.
Ouch.
With 60 frames and all
The
the
mods on that are going to be ridiculous.
yeah, and all the nice bells and whistles. So
That's going to be so insane.
if it's true, I'll get it.
I think that's probably true. I think maybe Blue Point is probably because I know a lot of people have been talking about Blue Point, want to see what they're doing for PlayStation 5 or whatever else. They've probably been doing that too, or something along those lines. That'd be crazy.
But then I have to ask myself, do I want to torture myself and go through Bloodborne again? Because
Yeah, right.
And then the answer might be
Nah,
yes.
I'm good.
The answer might be
I'm
yes.
good. I'll look at it from a distance. I'm good.
All right, what are the odds that they're going to remaster Skyrim? For the
Oh, of course. Why?
why not?
Like, that thing's going to be it's resurrected as many times as it can.
Bethesda needs an apology tour right now for
Yeah.
Fallout 76. They're going to remaster Fallout 4. They're remaster Skyrim stuff. Maybe put Doom in a collection again with Doom and Doom
Oh,
Eternal.
God, not again.
Like that.
I went through the
Pretty
struggle.
sure they're going to do it. Because look, they had a version for VR, for PSVR, that I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
at E3.
I remember that.
And they also did it for Doom too, Doom VR. So, I would not be surprised. And I wouldn't fault them for it because again, there's money to be made there.
It's like
as
Rise
much as
back
we
from the
complain
dead.
about it out here about buying games again. Some people still buy it again.
Exactly.
Again, Nintendo's proof of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next one. Games you wish you could replay again for the first time.
Kingdom Hearts 1 and Final Fantasy X for me.
For me, Super Mario 64.
Same.
I would love to replay that game
Solid
again.
choices. Solid choices right there. I mean, there's so many games, again, you could say that about too.
Oh, yeah.
For me, again, first Sonic the Hedgehog game, the first time I played that, again, that was my genesis into gaming.
God of War 1.
God of War 1. God of War 3. I thought God
Yes.
of War 3 was probably the most
Oh my
epic, or at
gosh.
least one of the most epic in that series.
Yes.
People say that about God of War 2, especially towards the end of that game with the cliffhanger. But
Yeah.
God of War 3 it just kept going.
Yeah,
And I was
it-
how
like-
can this series get any more ridiculous?
Exactly.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
soon as you get into the game, you're already going up against
That
your
is
first
the most,
boss.
That is probably has to be one of the most epic gaming series ever made.
Yeah.
Sly Cooper 1 would be mine.
Sly Cooper, I think, is underrated because
Yes.
I love
It
Sly 1, 2, and
was.
3. I played Sly 1, 2, and 3 for the first time on PlayStation 3, and those are probably one of the few games I platinumed on that console. And I didn't like Sly Thieves in Time and stuff, but I feel like Sly.
I like Bandit Thieves.
Yeah, those first 3 games, pretty damn good.
Because all I would play is Murray, and I just enjoy kicking the crap out of
I
people.
only played one, and that was it, and I just stopped. I was more of Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter.
Ooh, Jack and Daxter's a good one.
I never liked Jack 2 and 3. I like Jack 1. I thought Jack 1
Jack
the
1
game
was
that
simple.
resonated. Jack
Yeah.
2 and 3, I felt like they were, at the time when it was released, a lot of people were borrowing heavily from Grand Theft Auto 3. And Grand Theft Auto
Yeah.
Vice City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Remember,
remember.
that was a thing. There was a lot of games that had the open world you can maneuver around in and do side quests and all this stuff because of Grand Theft Auto. That changed the industry.
Yeah.
Hands down. There's
I
so much
agree.
that
I
borrowed
agree.
from that. Jack specifically borrowed from that. Which is crazy.
Oh, man, I miss Jack and Daxter. I
There-
want to
there's
get a
so many other
PS2 now.
games I
Yeah,
feel
so
like
many.
I would want to play for the first time. First time I played Soul Calibur 2
Oh,
Ooh.
yes.
on every platform.
Nightmare.
Yes.
Nightmare is my favorite.
I mean, I loved just the guest characters on every single one of them.
Yes, Heihachi on the PlayStation.
Spawn
Spawn on
Nintendo.
Xbox
On
and
Xbox.
Link on GameCube.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
remember
Everybody
that.
out there, you will never see that again.
Yeah.
You will never see that again because now everybody wants to have everybody on every
I think the
platform.
only one you saw that was exclusive was Mortal Kombat 9 when you had Kratos for PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. And again, that one
I
was,
was
the
so
one that had
upset.
the most characters because of that. It had one more than everybody else.
The roster was so amazing.
And then the complete edition of that, the complete collection of that,
Yeah.
has everybody, all the DLC and everything was crazy. Pretty dope.
Best roster, hands down.
Yes, I agreed. All right. Next topic. Is the Battle Royale genre here to stay or no?
It's probably going to be here to stay.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. It's too much money to be made. Look at Fortnite. Look at PUBG. Look at every game that
Apex
has
Legends.
implemented a battle royale game type. I
Warzone.
mean, look at Warzone.
Yeah.
I mean, you say the same thing about Black Ops 4.
Oh, Blackout.
Blackout, yeah, exactly. Every shooter, third person and first person, has in some way implemented a battle royale game type because of how much of an impact that style of game hit the industry. I remember going to PAX East and seeing PUBG for the first time when it was first being put out there in early access. And there was lines of people to play it. Now, personally for me, I don't like the battle royale game type. I think that sometimes it's way too long of a wait to get into a little bit of action.
Yeah.
I'm not as patient with that. I'm more traditional FPS for when it comes to Call of Duty and stuff. I have to play on Shipment. I have to play on some of these other maps where I feel like people
Rust.
are forced to play. Stuff like that. Or even just Halo, the same thing, of that nature. But with Battle Royale, I know there's an audience for it, especially a young audience that are growing up with that right now. That's their version of what Call of Duty 4 was for us.
Yeah.
Or what Halo was for us. Because when Halo came out, the first Halo with multiplayer changed the game.
Free
Yeah,
for all.
definitely.
And Halo 2 with Xbox Live for the first time changed the game for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening now with Battle Royale for a lot of people.
And not only that, it's also free to play as well. So
Yeah, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You play it on mobile.
That's true.
No, very few, if not any other series, could really say that.
A friend of mine did
being
a
everywhere
Warzone mobile.
is a huge deal for them.
Yeah.
Huge win for that company. And that Fortnite was not originally going to be like that. Fortnite was a totally different game when it first came out.
And I feel like I even though I don't play Fortnite because I just don't like building crap. I like to just
I just suck at the game. When
Run and gun.
I just run and
Put it
gun.
out there. I suck at Fortnite. So
Run and gun, baby. Run
I
and
just
gun.
run and gun. I feel like with Fortnite, it's like it's becoming more of a game because how many of you guys saw the Travis Scott performance that they had in the game?
Yeah, they do events like that. Even the Last Jedi, not Last Jedi.
They had
the Rise of
Marshmallow.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
The stuff that Jeff Keighley has been doing with all that stuff, that, the trailers and all these other events. People have been using that game because of how popular it is to use as an outreach tool.
Yeah.
Which is, again, very few, if not any other games right now could really say that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably say that maybe about maybe League of Legends, maybe Counter-Strike, these games that have ridiculously huge audiences that are global. But I feel like Fortnite is the one right now, especially that does that in ways that just reach out to people and makes an impact.
Definitely.
And because of that game type.
And currently, right now, I feel like the top 3 Battle Royale games are Fortnite, Apex,
and
Warzone.
Warzone right now, yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Like PUBG, I feel like it's taking a back seat because Fortnite did it so much better.
Yeah.
And I think, is there any others I could think of right now that are like big? Because once I think
I
about
remember Battlefield 5 had a Battle Royale.
that,
Paladin-
yeah, but then nobody gave a damn about it though. compared to these other
Paladins
games.
had a battle royale, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's like, do we really even remember those? Like,
Nope.
Yeah.
compared to Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because it's, again, brand awareness.
It's all about
Exactly.
it's all about fan base and
Yeah, brand
personal.
awareness. That's really what it is. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
I'm like, oh, great, more Battle Royale games. It gets to a point it's like you get tired of them.
It's
And
generic.
then,
Keep in
and,
mind-
and then there's a Battle Royale game that you end up playing, and then you're like, I like this one.
Yeah, exactly. And keep in mind also, there's all the other business aspects to it. Because look at the esports scene, which, again, that thrives in esports. Because remember, it used to be like Call of Duty, Halo, League of Legends, Dota 2, games like that, maybe
Yeah.
Street Fighter, especially now. Now they've implemented things like Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and other games like that. But really, it was those games back then with MLG, with the World Championship Gaming. Now down here, at least what they're trying to do in South Florida with the Ultimate Gamer that we were talking about earlier, like there's stuff like that where stuff like Fortnite thrives because it attracts an audience and it actually brings people to stuff like that. That also, because of the payouts and all the different competitions and stuff, that just, again, keep the train just going. It generates a ridiculous amount of money for people.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm still salty about that one 16-year-old kid that won $1 million in a Fortnite tournament.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, hey, it makes there's young kids getting into it because there's money to be made. There's money to be earned. There's money to be passed around amongst people. This is why when the Ultimate Gamer came down here, they had the E2E conference. I don't know if I told you, I got to speak as a person, as a panelist at the E2E conference down here because they were really talking about bringing the esports scene in a way where they could actually build an esports stadium here in Miami-Dade. And
I would
also-
love that.
and do other stuff where they
Me
could
too.
attract that type of audience here. And it was really the people with money don't understand the scene. And they
Yeah.
need the people that actually understand the scene and the culture and the community of it in order
Yeah.
to make that work so everybody wins. That's what a lot of the fighting game scene, the FGC and stuff, really struggles with because, again, there's always that odds because they don't want to be esports, but they want the perks of esports, and you can't have it that way.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be something you got to be willing to compromise in order to grow, and that's what Fortnite's been doing. Games like Fortnite, games like Call of Duty, games like Counter-Strike, Dota, League have really done that, and that's why they thrive in this scene as esports.
Agreed. I agree.
Big time.
All right, and our last topic, Q&A from followers. You guys got any questions from your followers?
Yeah, I got a couple from the media nuts. What are some games you would like to see in the PS5?
Games like in general.
Yeah, like
'Cause, I mean, we have confirmed games. We have Godfall that's confirmed for PS5.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm excited to
they're gonna
see.
get that too.
I want to see Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, yeah, that's another one. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get other big franchises. We're gonna see Final Fantasy again. I know they're already talking about doing Final Fantasy 16 at some point. I would not be surprised. Obviously, the next Call of Duty, even though we just have one now, already probably being worked on.
Oh, they're not
PS5.
gonna stop.
No, you're kidding me? Like they're a yearly, almost bi-yearly thing.
As long as it's not Treyarch, we're cool.
I want to see a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah, that's another one. That
I
is
haven't-
Guerrilla's working on something.
Man,
Yeah.
I need a
Easy, that's
PS4.
coming. That's
Yeah.
And also keep in mind, a lot of the games that are going to come out now, you're going to get PS5 versions at some point. Maybe not at launch. To me, it would make sense to have it at launch, but I think that they want people to buy in for some of these exclusive games for PS5 in order to get them into the
Yeah,
console.
because I think PlayStation said that for the PlayStation 5, they're going to, strictly focus more on single-player games.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that because that means Horizon, another sequel to Horizon, another sequel to Spider-Man,
Yes, that's another
Ooh.
one. Spider-Man from Insomniac. It's going to be a big, big deal.
another sequel I really want to see, a game that was completely underrated because it was short, The Order 1886, I think.
You know, I don't think that's going to happen because a lot of people really dumped on that game when it came out. Like, I know what they were trying to do, and a lot of people even criticized it heavily for the way that it played. But I mean, it's a gorgeous looking game.
Yeah, and it was screaming co-op.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like, certain series like that you probably won't see as much. Like, I don't think you're going to see Neo again, even though we just had Neo 2, like maybe not too long ago. But then you're going to see other games like Bloodborne. You'll probably see other games like Dark Souls, like stuff that like at first with the next gen you're going to get at some point.
There's one game I'd like to see. You ever played The Darkness?
Yes, that's another one that also I feel like was underrated. But again, there was like all this
Like
other stuff happening.
the sequel, the second one was good. Like they made room for a third one, but there has no
They haven't really
confirmation.
done anything with it.
I was so pissed.
Which is crazy. Beyond Good and Evil 2, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Mm-hmm. That's another one that's going to be a big thing that we're going to see eventually like that. And I feel like the thing is too, like there's certain series that I feel like have been dormant for so long, but were really big deals for certain companies that I feel like you're probably going to see a resurgence with, like Splinter Cell. Every year I've
Yeah.
gone to E3, I felt like this is Ubisoft's time. Like there's things matching up, never happens.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What the hell? Like
I want another Splinter Cell game, a really good one, because after Blacklist, I was like, I want another one.
I feel like eventually, like there's certain series that are going to be like that. Like I think Prince of Persia. I don't know if you saw the leak for the Prince of Persia footage from like a game a long time ago that ended up becoming something else that leaked out. That was a Prince of Persia game that just never became a thing. I feel like those are series like again from some of these companies that you'll feel like pop up again like that. I think also, I really think for again as a fighting game fan, you're going to get other fighting games where the idea of a crossover has become such a cool thing now for some people. Because look at some of the games that the crossovers were getting for the guest characters. Tekken being the biggest, most
Yep.
what the
Yeah.
hell type of one that you've seen.
Yeah, like Negan was a complete
It
surprise.
was like, what the
It
hell?
was.
A Final Fantasy character in a fighting game.
Yeah.
A
No,
traditional fight, that
Noctis.
makes no sense. Like, I
Yeah.
can understand Negan as a promotional thing, which is still wild in of itself. But like an RPG character for a traditional 3D fighting game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. This is why I feel like the next kind of like crossover games you're going to get your CVS too, because like Capcom versus SNK, that for people that don't know, Capcom versus SNK 3, because look, SNK is now a company again.
Yeah.
You're getting King of Fighters games like that. Capcom
Yes.
is experiencing somewhat of a resurgence with a lot of
Yeah.
their series and stuff like it. It just seems like there's money to be made there. I feel like also you're going to get other crossovers, maybe another Marvel versus Capcom at some point. Granted, the last one wasn't all that great, but look what's been going on with Disney and stuff and everything else that's been matched up. Because remember, Disney got the rights to the Fantastic Four, to the X-Men, and a lot of other stuff. Remember, that was the problem with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite before. This is why they totally dropped the brand and why, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and all these other things
Yeah.
weren't really a thing in those games.
I would love to see like Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Like, if they're gonna do if they do one, it needs to be 60 characters, 30 on Marvel, 30 on Capcom.
And in the X-Men. That's the
Yes.
first thing should be.
Oh,
The
Yes,
Judas.
yes, X-Men characters need
and
to
the
be there.
Fantastic Four, really the X-Men, because I mean, with the Fantastic Four, with Ultimate Marvel 3 is really, Super Skrull and stuff like that, and also like Galactus as a character stuff, but really the X-Men for that series. But again, just for that genre, the idea of a crossover, Blaze Blue cross tag battle, what we got with, with Mortal Kombat, what we
Yeah.
got with Tekken 7, there's this idea of just like different types of combinations of games we never thought were possible are now possible.
Yeah, and also crossplay as well.
And crossplay, which
Oh,
is another
yeah.
thing, because look at Rocket League.
Yeah.
Look at what's going on. Well, even with Street Fighter 5, it was really PS4 and PC, but you want us to be able to see PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
And of course, Call of Duty, you can play
Call of
with
Duty,
everyone.
You can play with everybody.
Yeah.
Fortnite, you can play with everybody practically.
Yeah.
I also just played Kart Racer Drift, the new cross-platform that's coming out soon. I had an opportunity to play the beta. It's still going on. Just look up nexon.com if you're interested. They have PC and Xbox so far, but I bet they're going to expand to PlayStation 4 as well. And probably the next-gen consoles as well.
There's possibilities there. That's the thing. Like things are possible now, and especially if you get the right people talking and the right deals made, anything could be possible.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, we never thought that Mario and Sonic were going to be in the same game years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Super Smash Brothers seeing Sonic and Brawl, that was like, oh my God.
What about the Olympics?
But the Olympic Games, you gotta understand, there was a time where that really was heresy because those were at such odds and such a dichotomy between those brands. The only thing that we have not got yet with something like Mario and a Sonic is them working together as heroes in a platformer game.
Okay, I'd dare to see
I
that
almost wrote an
twice.
editorial about this for, I believe it was a Nintendo enthusiast. I never got a chance to do it, but I always said like Mario and Sonic should work together as a team against Bowser and Dr. Robotnik in some way as an actual platformer or an action game
True.
that isn't in the Olympics. Because we get that in the last Olympic Games that they did, that was on Switch and stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't seen something like that yet. We've only seen that type of stuff with a game like Project Cross Zone, whereas like all these characters from these 3 different companies working together against evil.
Oh, then also there was a Smash Brawl briefly introducing Sonic.
Well, yeah, like I just said, yeah, like with
Yeah.
Sonic coming in for Brawl and stuff, or even was it Smash Ultimate where everybody's there?
Oh yeah,
That's another.
That's
That's the
like-
best crossover of all time.
that's
Yeah.
like the biggest.
Like, there's no way you could tell me like there's anything better of a crossover than that because it's just like
Because
Nintendo
you
just
have-
brought everybody in.
Everybody.
Like there's
Yeah,
no
I
way
don't
you
think
could tell
they're
me
gonna
that.
stop.
Like there's no like limit to that game. Like now we're getting a new season. Like soon we're gonna get the Arms character for that. But I really believe you're gonna see.
Oh,
Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
that follows up with the next question. Actually, they're gonna say which ARMS character is gonna be in Smash.
I think it's gonna be Min Min.
I was gonna say Springman.
Or well, Springman is an assist trophy. That's the reason why I don't say that.
I know, but sooner or
But I feel
later,
like Min Min or Hit Girl. Is it Hit Girl or what
Yeah.
is
I don't
the
have a Switch.
female one? That's like the female version of Springman.
oh yeah.
Spring Girl, I guess.
But I know they bring trophies back to life or into a life.
I thought about that, like, because then I would say, like, again, Shovel Knight for an indie character.
Yes.
Shantae. You know, 'cause I'm a big
Yes.
Shantae again because I'm revealing Shantae in the Seven Sirens now. But like characters like that, Travis Touchdown because No More Heroes 3 is coming out soon.
Yep.
Like, you know, characters like that, anything is possible now. Scorpion, Sub-Zero, I feel like that's possible.
Dude,
You know?
Jeff Kaplan even approved of having Overwatch characters in Smash.
Yeah, like freaking Tracer. A lot of people have talked about it. The only problem is with that, I feel like it's a little bit of a stretch. With
Yeah.
that, because keep in mind they were going to do big things with Overwatch on Switch, and that just totally dropped the ball. Like they even canceled a New York Nintendo New York City event that was going to be for Overwatch. After everything went down.
It's a frame rate, honestly.
And the way that the game is. Or
It's-
whatever. But I could totally see stuff like that happen. And there's potential now for anything. Anything is possible at this point.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what the next gen of gaming is gonna bring. All I know is it's gonna be good, and of course, there's gonna be some disappointments along the way. But
Is what it
overall, it's gonna be really good.
A lot of excitement this year.
Definitely.
Yeah, and what do y'all suppose the pricing of the PlayStation 5 is gonna be?
An arm and a leg. I'm telling you right now.
Probably a
It's
chunk
gonna
of my
be-
soul.
I know. Did they? I don't remember if they released the price of the Xbox Series X. I don't think so.
No.
Not yet.
I'm saying at
Because
least
I
one.
think it's a waiting game to see which one's gonna.
Who's going to reveal first? And I think PlayStation is probably going to be the one to reveal first.
Yeah.
Because remember, we haven't heard anything or seen much other than the controller.
Yeah.
We're going to see I really think we're going to see the actual console
Yeah.
at this event. And I think we're going to get a price point. And I think it's going to be around $400. Because that, to me, that seems like the spot where it's going to be like, okay, this is the next gen game. They're going to want people to pay stuff, but it's going to be reasonable where it's not like how almost $600 where PS3 was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that watching that conference. I was like, ooh. Everybody was
like-
like, hell, and people still bought it.
Yeah.
But there were people to this day. I remember listening to a podcast where people don't believe that happened. Like that was.
Oh, it
people-
definitely did.
It did happen. Yeah,
It did
You
happen.
could go see it and see everybody's reactions. And people still bought it because it was PlayStation, and they didn't sell as many consoles because again, $600.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, but still, I feel like it's going to be around for both consoles or around that price point for both Series X and PlayStation 5. At least for me.
True. I got 2 more questions. Jake, what's been your favorite game to review this year?
To review this year.
Yes.
Ooh. Oh man, this year, because again, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like my last couple games, does it have to be new games though?
It can be anything from this year, like anything
this year,
anything you've mentioned.
Anything that I mentioned from this year? Oh my god, I'm like trying to look now at the Persona 5 Royal. There you go.
Oh,
Because
all
I mean,
right.
granted, I reviewed it last year, but it wasn't on my YouTube channel. Okay, on my YouTube channel, it would be Persona 5 Royal this year. Because
Okay.
last year, I would say Resident Evil 2 remake. That would be hands down the best game for me that year. That was my game of the year, and I was surprised it didn't win game of the year because I think it was Sekiro won or something else won. I can't remember.
For last year?
Last year for the Game Awards.
I think it
Sekiro?
was Sekiro, yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it Sekiro?
I think it was.
So Sekiro, because I know there was other games there that people nominated for Game of the Year, which was Control, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and a few others. But like last year, I would say that. This year, I would say Persona 5 Royal. Or actually, no, I would say Final Fantasy 7 Remake, because Final Fantasy 7 Remake was actually
Oh
also.
man,
because
I've seen
the
gameplay. It's
thing is,
beautiful.
because that is a game for me personally on my YouTube channel, and also when I was at a couple of the websites where I've seen that since the beginning. There's a video from the PlayStation conference B-roll footage of their conference. I believe it was 2018 or 2017.
2017.
It was 2017 where they first revealed for the first time. There's footage of me in the audience that you can see me jumping for joy that I made it into the B-roll. It's me, HMK, and one of my other friends.
Oh
They're
really?
singing
I
it.
met
Nice.
HMK a couple years ago.
All three of us are there in the audience, and you can see me jumping for joy for that thing. And that was the same year they showed The Last Guardian that was actually coming out, Final Fantasy VII Remake, what is it, the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, and also Shenmue 3
Ooh.
for the first time there, that they actually showed more footage of it there. So yeah, I would say if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Final Fantasy VII Remake this year so far, if not Persona 5 Royal.
All right. Then last question. Which arcade game of Flynn's is our favorite?
Our favorite?
Like any
Everything
game here.
Everything here, like I'm looking
For
back
me, it's LA Machine Guns.
now. The machine guns? Okay, because you like the shooters?
Yeah.
I mean, I like fighting games in the arcade. So again, if I'm not playing Super Turbo, if I'm not playing Third Strike, I mean, I would probably say maybe Mortal Kombat 2. But again, I'm like looking at the machines because Flynn's has a lot of multi-game machines. Like I would even say like even for the SNK one, like the King of Fighters, like it's hard to pick
Yeah.
like that. But I would say most fighting games like SVC Chaos or Street Fighter, whatever have you.
Yeah.
Arcade machines here at Flynn's.
I got two. It's gonna be Power Stones, and I just discovered it when I first got here.
Yeah.
And then Dance Dance Revolution.
Dance Dance, yeah.
I have no confidence to
You
play
need
it.
to have endurance to play some Dance Dance.
Yeah.
That'll tie.
I
That's
have
a workout.
I have
Yeah,
no
it's
confidence,
done.
but I want
Yes.
to do it.
After one dance, like
Silverback, we're doing this the next time we're here.
What, Dance Dance?
I'm
Yes.
totally doing. I totally love
Yes.
Dance Dance. I mean, I'm tired out as hell, but still.
Why not?
All for the content.
Yeah, right?
All for the content.
All for that content. Them views.
Alrighty, well, we just wrapped up all the topics. So, you guys have any closing words or any last things that you guys want to say?
Or any final questions for me, or whatever that you guys want to talk about briefly while I'm here.
Wow, damn! I definitely appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you guys having me.
I was completely speechless on like actually learning about the gaming publishing side of it.
I got more stories. Like I'm pretty sure we'll talk
Oh, yeah.
after
Oh,
all
yeah.
this.
Yeah, we probably
'Cause
will.
I got stories. I got stories I can't say on camera.
It actually
Yeah.
broadened my horizon. It just left me in a complete blank, and I'm definitely impressed, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very humbled. And I appreciate you guys having me on. And again, I like doing stuff down here, like this or just being around everybody because I don't usually get out as much as I would like to, because sometimes, the traveling could be a little bit much, even going to some of the events. I like doing the stuff down here in South Florida because at least this is my scene now. This is my backyard. This is
Yeah.
like, the community of people that we have here that I think that we need to have a little bit more noise for us in other areas. Because I feel like we got a great setup for
Definitely.
things,
Heck
especially
yeah.
places like Miami, places like here, Margate, at Flynn's and other spots and other events.
Even in West Palm Beach, it's like practically silent.
Yeah, I mean, we have some events down there, like, like Anime Y or Chibi Pod when it was, and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And like Deerfield and such. But like, when it comes to actual like big events and stuff that like personalized, like with me and others down here, even some of the YouTubers that are down here, we don't make enough noise to do a lot of fun stuff. And even for me, I hope at least at some point I get big enough where I could actually do something. Like I could come to Flynn's and bring a bunch of people with me and have a big fun event like that celebrates and shows the positive aspects of gaming that we don't get here enough that we
Yeah.
see in other places. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
like there's some cool spots. Like we got Flynn's, we got Glacier Bar, we got all these different places, and not enough
People.
attention. Yeah,
Not enough hype.
not enough hype. Yeah,
Yeah, I also want to plan to change that as well. So that way, more people can come out, more people can realize that, yeah, there is a community of gamers out here locally that you can interact with, ask questions, play games, and whatnot.
and bring some of the businesses down here, some of the publishers. I actually, funny enough, we'll probably talk afterwards, but I have had conversations with people at publishers and PR reps that have been talking about going to certain locations, and there's different reasons why it hasn't happened here for South Florida that hopefully could change in
Yeah.
some way.
Definitely, because for me, I would really like to see South Florida be another big spot where you can have gaming tournaments, come for gaming, and big tournaments and things like that. Because I know we have CEO up in Orlando,
Yeah, that's Orlando.
Yeah.
Down here.
but down here, there's
We have now, again, we were getting the Ultimate Gamer. We've had it now for 1 year. We're going to get it a second year eventually, despite all this other stuff happening.
Yeah.
But, like, we have to have more other types of events. There used to be other events years ago But like again, those were not so much for the community as much as I would have loved to see. I would love to see more stuff that's a lot more brand friendly, as well as also friendly for bringing a lot of people together. That actually makes South Florida, or at least in this area, a spot where people within this greater gaming community could come and actually be a thing, like that they do up north in like New York, like Neutral Grounds and stuff, in Boston for like PAX, in California for like what goes on in LA, in Seattle, and Washington and stuff. We need that for us down here.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, we'll bring the hype soon.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I do have a question.
What's up?
Your work ethic. How's your work ethic with everything that you do? That is my last question.
There is a lot of stuff that I do. I even told you like when we were setting up here before, like I do a lot of things that sometimes, or most of the time, just don't get enough attention that I do that I feel like would bring a lot of good, or I've done or can do a lot of good if people actually took a moment and actually looked. Like one of the things that I do, besides every single week having at least one highly edited video review on my YouTube channel or a bunch of videos on top of that, with my podcast shows, with my streams. And now I'm getting back into streaming at least like twice a week on Twitch, which you guys should go see. But like all the other stuff on top of that, when I go to events and I talk to people, when I try to feature various different voices on my podcast shows, like eventually me and you are going to do one for my show at some point on my channel. But like even like some other people down here or in other places of different varying voices, whether it's minority or not, different type of like, perspectives and different aspects of the industry, whether it's not just gamers and not just people that are appreciative of games, that are consumers, people that make the games, people that are part of PR. I just had the Capcom PR lady that also does stuff for Nintendo like a couple weeks ago on my show that gave a different perspective about when it comes to review copies for games, when it comes to actually interacting with the public, going to events at conventions where a publisher will go and set stuff up. What does she have to say about things like that? And other things, of that nature. But I try to get involved with a lot of different things where I feel like I could actually contribute to the conversation and contribute my level of positivity. Because I feel like sometimes a lot of the different places that you look at, whether it's content creators, whether it's websites and stuff, they're doing it for attention, not doing it for the cause.
Right.
And that's something that I feel like, it really sucks because we see so much of that in our industry. And again, from my perspective and from what we see even on the more local scene, we don't get enough people actually doing things and going about things and moving in a way that is for the greater good. So I hope, at least for me, eventually over time that gets a little bit better. One of the things I do, and I make it very clear, and I've only been able to speak at a college once. I actually look at, and that's something that's very important to me. Like I make it a point to tell people like, listen, if I ever get big to a point where I get paid to go to like speaking engagements, I would never charge a college or a university to like have me go there, even if for like a speaking fee or whatever, or just get me there. Because to me, it's like a lot of those college students, especially the ones that are getting into game design and game programming, are the ones that are going to be making the games that we care about in some time down the line. Recently, that nobody knows about because I've told people, but nobody believes me, I did a submission for, with a bunch of other game industry pros for people that are doing graduation this year that couldn't walk. That we did a digital graduation for them, which I believe was EGD, if I remember the acronym correctly, that I shared on like multiple places. But they were hosting an event on Twitch for all the graduates that are in game design and esports and everything else associated with it, to give them some encouragement to be like, okay, listen, just because you're not walking doesn't mean that we don't see you. We don't know to see you. We don't care about what you're doing because you guys are going to be making games. Hopefully one day I'm reviewing and hopefully not talking smack about in some way. You know what I mean? But like, there's stuff like that I go out of my way to do because I feel like it's important. And I don't see enough of that from a lot of people in our industry, from a lot of professionals, a lot of content creators, because they don't care about that. They care about themselves rather than everything else as a whole. Real talk. That's my work ethic in a nutshell. Plus coffee
I dig that.
and snacks. And also just the caring about it. Again, I just love being part of the conversation about games.
Agreed.
Yeah, we're definitely
Respect
glad
that,
that you're a
man.
part of this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alrighty, y'all. Well, that concludes episode 5 of the South Florida Gamers Podcast. I'd like to thank our guest, Jakejames Lugo, for being on and joining us. And we will have him again in the future.
Heck yeah.
Anytime you want me, I'm here.
And you want to plug in your social medias to let people know where they can find you?
I'm sorry, shameless plugs. There's a number of places you can find me, okay? So bear with me here. Number 1, you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/GamersWithGains channel, or you could search Jakejames Lugo on the search bar because there is a lot of videos that I put up every single week, brand new game reviews, either retro or modern new games, a ton of podcast shows, a ton of vlogs, a ton of other exclusive content that's on there. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/GamersWithGains, where 2 nights out of the week, usually Wednesdays and Sundays in the evening and stuff, I'm streaming all types of games. I'm usually playing Street Fighter. I'm usually playing like Super Turbo, but I'm trying to get into other games and stuff. Next time I stream, if not tonight, maybe tomorrow, I'm probably going to be streaming Xenoblade Chronicles on Switch because that's one of my next reviews. Not this week coming up, but probably the following week if I'm lucky. Fingers crossed. I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/JakeJamesLugo. I'm there every single day, posting up stuff all the freaking time, like gaming related stuff, interacting with you guys, interacting with other people and stuff all the time. I'm on Instagram, instagram.com/JakeJamesLugo. I post up pictures all the time. I post up stuff from when I came here, stuff that you guys could probably see now. And I'm also on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/JakeJamesLugo. It's literally $1 to join my Patreon. And I give everybody a ton of exclusive content, exclusive podcasts, early access to my new videos. My Discord server, which is open to everybody. I have a Discord server, but I have an exclusive chat for everybody that joins up on Patreon. That's literally $1, and you get a ridiculous amount of exclusive content on top of the other tiers, which give more stuff and things like that. But one of my beliefs with a lot of stuff that I don't see from other creators, Patreon, they don't give enough value for some of their tiers. And for me, like, listen, if you pledge $1 to my stuff, you're getting a ton of stuff from me, straight up. Like, you're getting a ridiculous amount of content. And that's everywhere I'm at. You can find me on all those places all the time, every single day, every single week.
All right, you heard it from the man here first. All right, and you got anything, bro?
No, I'm good actually.
All right.
Not as many plugs. It's like,
I know.
damn, there's a lot of plugs.
I know. I need an extension cord of all these plugs now.
Right? There's a ridiculous amount of plugs, son.
I'm learning more from you now.
Well, all of Jake James Lugo will be in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. Same thing with Waluigi's, his Facebook, not
My Instagram, my Twitter,
just Instagram and Twitter.
His socials.
and Twitch.
His socials.
I'm practicing.
Your socials. You plug that plug. You got this.
Alrighty, y'all, and I am your host, the SilverbackSenpai. I would like to thank you guys for watching and tuning in. You can watch the playback of the podcast on YouTube, which is going to be up after we're done. And you can also listen to it. If you're an audio listener, you can listen to it on Anchor, which will be up later today. And it'll be available on iTunes, Spotify, and I'm still working on trying to get it on SoundCloud. But Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and iTunes, it'll be up later today. So, yeah. With that being said, thank you guys for watching and tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one 2 weeks from now with our next guest. And with that being said, you guys stay safe, be motivated, stay positive.
Peace out,
and
y'all.
most importantly, stay classy. Catch you on the next